Okay, there we go. Oops, I thought we were gonna have a problem, but it looks like we're okay. Okay, we're live on Twitch. Give me a second. YouTube, hello. I know you're early. Dr. Dani should be with us shortly. It's good to see you, Angela. I'm going to... Okay, and we are almost live on YouTube. Things are going well. Ever since I shattered my hand playing volleyball, there's something wrong when I type with my fingers. It's like I cannot push the H button consistently. I type it like I could type like a normal person. It's just for some reason I can't push the H ever. I have to go back every time I need to write an H and like correct. Not every time, but... Okay, sorry, I'm just pulling up my outline really quick. I'm so excited, Dr. Dani. I know, I miss you guys. I'm so excited to see all your smiling words in the chat and faces. We don't get to do this enough. Let's tap the screen. I know there's all these new TikTok rules. I just want to say, if you would like to be a super fan, I know subscription rules have changed. It'd be much appreciated. Please subscribe. Like, I saw all those notifications about like community guidelines and changing, and like they were offering creators what am I trying to say, like seminars on it. I never went to one, so like the first I've really heard about all these changes to like subscriptions and stuff are right now when I read out, like I was just re-uploading TikTok Studio and all these things are popping up, and then I heard Fax this morning when I was listening to Factso Matters Live. He was talking about it and I was like, oh, okay, so apparently like, you know, if you want to tip, we have to do it this way, not necessarily talk about... I have to go back and read the community guidelines. And then the subscription rules have changed as well. But again, I did not attend the several webinars that I got emails about to attend. So I have no idea until I was like heard Fax talking about it. I was like, oh, okay, that explains a lot. Why my live was like violated yesterday, like... over and over, and I was like, that's what Joanna and Chrissy were trying to explain to me over and over. Okay, we are just waiting for Dr. I mean, she was waiting on me, quite honestly. Live now. Let's tap the screen, share the live, and I don't know what you guys have been watching this morning. I know you guys are probably at work and like listening to different lives. Tomorrow, I mean, not to like, never to bury the lead. Tomorrow there is a absolute train wreck happening right now on Capitol Hill. Kash Patel, whatever he's on, can someone get me some? Can I be on what he's on? He is like under oath on Capitol Hill, screaming at senators, like just his eyes are like darting back and forth, like his eyes are like going like two different ways at the same time. Like he's like, it's like he thinks someone's after him or something. I can't even, like, it's like one eye's like looking this way, one eye's looking at someone else, and he's like screaming, and then people are like, are you screaming at me? And he's like, no. It's like, what the Kash Patel is having a literal like 5-hour meltdown, and imagine if someone's having that type of a meltdown, but then they're like, I'm nailing it. You know what I mean? Like he's like nailing it. It's like this is not like, you could see like Republicans are like, are you okay? Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, people are like scared to question him because they're like, this man is so unhinged right now. Like, he's just screaming at like Dick Durbin and Chuck Grassley, and they're like, we're not sure what you're talking about. And his eyes are just like, did you guys hear that? Like, what's going on? It's like, it's 10 a.m. Like, how can you be in this place right now? Cash. Like, what? Whatever it is, whatever's making, I want some. I want to try it. It looks, Kash Patel's on some crazy never-ending ride. Like, Truly, if you wait till I can't wait to clip. I'm actually excited to show you guys. I mean, it's very depressing and horrific for our country and not funny at all in any way. But, and these are the absolute D-bags that Trump has hired. Like, this is how low you have to go to find people that, are dumber than Trump. Like, this is where we're at now. This is the guy in charge of the FBI. His eyes are literally like, one is up here, one's looking that way. He's screaming at one person, and another person's like, "Are you yelling at me?" He's like, "No." It's like, okay, this is going. Great job, Donald Trump. Always your wisdom in choosing people to work with. It's just unbelievable. I know. I did shower today. Dr. Dani's here. This is to impress her. I'm here to impress Dr. Dani. No, I did. I was like.
You don't have to impress me. My hair is like 4 days dirty. It's fine. We're all just
good.
surviving.
Then it's healthy. It's healthy. Then I'm not supposed to wash my hair. They keep telling me that. The longer you don't wash curly hair, the better it is. Isn't this great that Dr. Dani's here? If you've never had the pleasure, sorry, I'm just going to put you in the giant box. Do you want to give everyone like a little background? Can we aggressively tap the screen, share the live? This is my favorite brain I've ever met on the internet and person. So this is super exciting, and we haven't had Dr. Dani here for a long time. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your research and things.
So I have a PhD in clinical sexology. I'm a specialist in misogyny in the United States. So how misogyny presents in the United States, particularly been working a lot on abortion care and access the last couple of years. That was not the largest part of my research, but come kind of end of 2021 into 2022, that became a very, very large part of my research. But any kinds of misogynistic presentations in the US, and that also kind of crosses over a lot with things like racism, homophobia, and that kind of thing.
Bigotry, general
bigotry of any kind.
Dani tracks like the rise of hate and the spreading. I was going over like different mathematical models, trying to help MAGA learn how you can mathematically track who is spreading hate online. They didn't get it, but I did try, Dani. I did.
We've also been researching to your point, the manosphere for several years now. And that's just always super duper interesting. And then every once in a while, like the manosphere does something crazy, like groypers have been coming up a lot recently. And then people are like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't know these groups exist." And you're like, let me tell you about the dark underworld of the internet.
That's why I was like, as soon as this weekend, people were like, "What's a groyper?" I was like, "Oh, good Lord. I was like, imagine 4chan and Red Pill Bros had a bastard stepson, and that stepson hated their dad." That's the groyper.
A lot of people recently have been like, "What's black pill?" And I'm like, interesting that this is now like coming up in our discussions, right? Because like black pill's been around for a really, really long time. And it's like a subset of the red pill culture. So I think that's been coming up kind of along with the like groyper discussion, is people are like, "Oh, is this like a black pill issue?" And black pill is just like the nihilistic set of like the red pill. Like red pill thinks there's hope. Red pill thinks that like if you looks max, or like if you go to the gym, like you get muscles that are as big as mine, like if men could, get muscles like mine, then maybe they could get a girl, right? Maybe you can change your lot in life. And the black pills are just like, nah, can't change your lot in life. Like the top 20, 80% of women are going to go after the top 20% of men, and there's nothing you can do about it. Like you're just in the bottom, 80%, there's nothing you can do. So red pills think that they can change their lot. Black pills think that they can't. That's the basic difference. I mean, there's obviously a lot more, but it's just really interesting.
That's a really good way to describe that. You know what I mean? Because it's a lot more like, that's actually I just wanted to say that's such a simple way of describing. Like red pill bros are like still like the Joe Rogans, like, "You guys, we can get on gender affirming care. We're just going to get on this T-gel. We're all going to get on a little testosterone, we look at we can grow our hair back now. Look at all this, there's hope for us, like onwards in hustle culture. If we just hustle real hard in capitalism, and we do a lot of gender affirming care, and we follow the Liver King's 10-point plan to success, things are going to get better for us." And like the black pill, which I want to play it's so funny because I was playing this clip yesterday and I was like, right when you had agreed to do the live, I was texting you and I was live like all day yesterday, seeing if you could do this live. And this random woman I came across had such like an interesting commentary that I think about this, but the nihilism, right? Which I think makes so much sense for me. And I was talking yesterday about this analogy I was thinking about, this microcosm I noticed when I lived in Idaho and Utah, which Tyler Robinson is from the backwoods of Utah, particularly southern Utah, where I was talking yesterday about how when I was living there and I was a history major and I was doing all this research in Utah and Idaho for like different theses and things I was writing, I was like, oh, this is like an oligarchical like microcosm that happened in 100 years in southern Utah with fundamentalist Mormons and the Lost Boys, right? Like all of the women, all of the young brides, everything would be going to these old, richer men in fundamentalist Mormon community. Like all the wealth, all of the upward mobility, the ability to procreate was being concentrated at the top. And these young boys were essentially being cast out of the community, right? There's no place for them. There's no jobs for them. There's no wealth for them. And I was thinking about how the Lost Boys in fundamental Mormonism, right, that are being pushed out by these fat cat oligarchical billionaires that are hoarding all the wealth at the top and there's no hope. That's the black-pilled nihilist groypers. They're just like, there is no hope for me. The average age of a homeowner used to be 22. Now it's 42. Like there is no hope for me. The only question is, what type of blaze of glory can I go out in? Let me find this clip too. But what do you think about that? Does that make sense? I'm trying to impress you.
I think you always impress me. I think it's really also, this is a controversial thing to say, but like, let me play this tape all the way through before everyone gets mad at me. So the really important thing is that like all of these things have a grain of truth, right? Like that's how extreme right-wing stuff kicks off. It wouldn't kick off if it didn't have a grain of truth, right? So they'll tell these young boys like, everyone's saying that like you're a horrible person because you're white. And they're like, you know what? That is kind of true. That's not literally what's being said, right? Like you would have to critically think about whiteness in that statement and stuff. But when we lack the critical thinking or we lack the emotional intelligence skills, and also someone presents us with this really simplistic message, there's a grain of truth in that. Or like the Lost Boys, right? Like they were ostracized from society. There's this push out, right? So there ends up being this grain of truth. Or like even the red pill, they'll be like, well, women don't want us anymore. And like women aren't choosing us. Well, there's a grain of truth in that. Why that's not happening, that gets convoluted, right? That's where the lies start to come in. Like the lies start to come in of like, oh, women are just these stuck up, B words, and I'm trying to be really,
they only want rich men with money. Yeah. Then then the violence comes in. Yeah. But exactly. It starts from a grain of truth, which in my opinion, I always talk about this, I think is bred in capitalism, right? And this American exceptionalism. And it's like the disenfranchising of America's youth as wealth concentrates more and more at the top. I was like I have like an economics chatbot professor teacher I use, and we were like, I was like 2.3 or 2.5 trillion dollars is essentially being transferred like a month at this point to the top of the economy, right? I mean, there's no hope for people at the bottom anymore, especially now that we've moved, now that we've moved towards quantitative easing and the way the economy works now. And as long as oligarchs are in charge, there is no hope. So it comes from a kernel of truth and what they've learned. And this is so true in Mormon culture, right? Women aren't supposed to work. You've got to have a great job. You've got to have resources. And the way to get your planet, the way to get God's favor in Mormonism is be financially successful. And I think this is super relevant because Tyler Robinson grew up in southern Utah. Like there's different places and ways to understand Utah. I mean, southern Utah, just St. George area, just north of Colorado City, where this is very much the belief. And these kids are like, well, where's my upward mobility? Where's my hope? Where's my shots? Like, there isn't one. And then, we've gone over several manifestos of these school pew-pewers. And I mean, it's outside of the unbelievable amounts of far-right racism and other concerning things they're constantly spewing. I would say that is the through line of, hey, the only thing there was for me to do was decide how what my blaze of glory was going to be. That's the only thing I have control over. The rest of this world of succeeding in capitalism, that's been decided for us. I found this clip. Okay. This is just a random woman I came across. I thought this was like, at first I was like, oh God, is this going to annoy me? And then I was like, this is a pretty brilliant thought. And I just wanted to see what you think.
Oh, I think I might have just seen this, but play it. Go.
Fascinating about the event from earlier this week. I think everyone knows the one I'm talking about. Everyone is talking about it. And please don't anyone come after me. This is not a political statement. It's just an observation. It's not just the event. It's what it exposed. We're suddenly seeing right-wing male factions, groups, ideologies splintering from each other. Black pill versus graper, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, versus red pill versus post-ironic chaos bros. And it made me realize something. Men in America have never really had a group identity, not like women or queer folks or other marginalized communities, because for most of history, the system was the male group. They didn't need movements, they had institutions. They were the default. But now the center no longer holds. They're losing that automatic position of dominance, and for the first time, some men are starting to feel what it's like not to be centered. And what happens when people feel disoriented in power? They form tribes, they splinter, they radicalize. But here's the key difference. These male factions aren't forming around shared hope or healing. They're forming around grievance, and most of it imagined, because their oppression isn't real. It's just equality finally arriving. But that doesn't make the pattern any less important, because archetypally and spiritually, this is the shadow of the masculine, trying to reorganize, trying to remember who it is when domination no longer works. Some of these groups will rot and just go away. Some will evolve, but all of them are whispering the same thing. I don't know who I am without control. And that's the real crisis.
Isn't that, like, your thoughts on that last part specifically? Like, this is the shadow of the masculine trying to reorganize. If I'm not the hunter, if I'm not the, the conqueror, the unaliver, where, if women don't need me to hunt, protect, unalive, whatever, who am I now? How do I fit in this society, right? Like, how do we reorganize? How do I define my masculinity? Because, I've been on right-wing watching all these men be like, why can't women just be women? Let me be men.
Which is something that, I think people also need to understand that, that's not new. Right? Men were saying that in the 20s.
I am so sorry to interrupt you. This is it. If we're talking, someone is asking me is on Dani's name. Just click on Dani's profile. Everyone should be following Dr. Dani. Her handle is at In Bed with Danielle. She is the most brilliant researcher and PhD I've ever met since coming to TikTok. If you're not following Dr. Dani, her name is at In Bed with Danielle. I don't think we're allowed to direct people to different apps or anything anymore, but that's what's next to her if you would like to gift or bless her, whatever. But yeah, it's at In Bed with Danielle, and 10 of 10 recommend if you've never heard Danielle speak. I mean, she's paid thousands of dollars to speak. She's just doing us a favor today.
I've recently been charging more if people want me to go to a Republican state. I'm like, oh, the fee just increased. I don't know if I want to teach to that group.
The tax. It's the tax.
It's the tax for me having to answer
tariffs. They're a bitch.
With so much love. But really quickly, it's so funny to see the difference both in the way between men and women treat me when I'm speaking, right? But also in red states, right?
I'm so sorry. You guys were talking about the video. I'm so sorry. Yes, and this, I just saw her yesterday, and I said this yesterday. It's at Chris here. I cannot, when I learned yesterday from Joanna, when I have a guest up, I cannot pin comments. So it's at Kristen, Kristen 1942. If anyone else, like a mod or someone can pin that, or anyone who has mod powers, Kristen 1942. And I've never seen any of. I just happened upon this video and I was like, oh yeah, like that's a very interesting, thought-provoking commentary. Sorry, I misunderstood. I thought you were asking about Dr. Dani. Thank you. Yeah, everyone's posted it now.
It's massively different. Like a woman, or like even college students, right? Like when I teach in colleges or something, like the women will raise their hand and they'll be like, hey, like you said this, but then I read this and that seems to be conflicting. I'm kind of confused. Like, can you help me rectify that? Or like, what do you think about that? Because like I read this and it seems to conflict with what you say. What do you think? Men will raise their hand and be like, you're wrong. You're wrong, and let me tell you why you're wrong. Like they're not engaging with curiosity. They just want to tell you why you're wrong, and then they'll say something, and you're like, okay, cool. So now let me tell you why you're wrong.
They were thinking all night for like the one thing. Do you know what I mean? That they could say you were wrong about too. They're like little defense lawyers. They're, oh, this woman's got a tiny brain and I'm going to figure out how I can prove for 1 second. I'm going to poke some hole that inevitably will backfire and make me look stupid, but I will poke a hole in this.
And they'll be like 18-year-olds, right? Or like 20-year-olds, and they're in college. Like you have a high school degree and you're in college. And you want, like, you confidently are like, you're wrong, and I know you're wrong, and this is why. And you're like, all right, cool, let's have a discussion. It's so annoying.
Really funny. Someone just said, are we talking about white men? I generally speak, I can only speak for myself. What I am talking about, I'm talking about MAGA, right-wing white men generally. I say that all the time. I was giving examples yesterday using Right-Wing Watch, of why I don't debate women on the right, like Senator Katie Britt. She was like doing an interview and like all these right-wing like red black pill podcasters are like, shut up. Like, I don't need to worry about women on the right. They're going to be devoured alive by the men that don't want them there. Yeah, I'm generally speaking, but no, don't. And let me just say though, like, you have to understand, I'm multiracial. My dad's indigenous, Mexican, and black. And like, yeah, he has this problem. My dad voted for Trump. So I think what is that saying? If it doesn't apply, let it fly. Like, there are great men of all races or who can critically think and follow a line of logic. Does that make sense? There are those. And I think in this context, Dani's talking about when she's teaching at universities, young 18-year-old young men who are, essentially poking holes in her research and stuff as a paid speaker. That's more what we're talking about.
But back to the video that we were talking about, like on that end where she was like, she mentioned the word, I can't remember exactly how she says it at the end, but she mentions the word domination. And that word is so key to all of this. So if you think about the sociological scripts that most men were handed, right? So first of all, they were not handed the same scripts that us women were handed, right? So I grew up in the 90s and the early 2000s. I got a script from my mom, who was the first person in her family to graduate high school. And then my mom went on to college as well. So she was the first person in her family to graduate from college. So I got this script from my mom, who also became a teacher. Education is the most important. That is the most important thing. You need to get an education. A man can never take your education from you. And you don't ever want to rely on a man. If a man can feed you, he can starve you. If a man has the power to feed you with his finances, he has the power to starve you. You do not ever want to rely on a man. So this is my script, right? My mom's like, get an education. No one can take that from you. My sister and I were like, bet, both got doctorate degrees, right? So we went forward, got our education. Boys are still largely being taught this like masculine identity that is based on patriarchal norms, the same kind of stuff that like our dads were raised with, right? So while they're telling young women, like, be independent, you don't want to have to like depend on a man, young boys and men are still being told you will essentially be issued a woman who will do everything for you, right? Now, that's not literally what we're telling young boys, but when you're growing up and you're seeing these scripts on TV, like, what is the normal, like, comedic script, right? Ha ha ha. The sitcom dad who's clueless, who doesn't, like, Modern Family, love Modern Family, Phil's clueless. He never knows what's going on. Claire's
weaponized incompetence is my favorite thing to throw in men's faces.
But it's funny in the sitcom, right? Everyone's like, ha ha ha, this dad doesn't know
So
anything.
lovable that the woman has to take care of everything and be on top of everything because he's just a lovable, bumbling idiot that has been released of all responsibility other than being just adorable.
So these scripts, right? Like women's scripts have changed and evolved with the times. Men's scripts have not. So now we come back to the manosphere, right? And she's right. We are starting to see these, like, first of all, these fractions already existed, right? These splits already existed. Because what we're seeing in the manosphere is we're seeing different strategies and different worldviews. So if we just take Red Pill, for example, right? Red Pill generally focuses on, like, can I say this? Sexual dynamics, dating dynamics, right? And improving your lot in that, right? It's kind of, so think of all of these as a Venn diagram.
It's gender affirming care for men to get laid. Is that not what they're doing over there? They're like, we're affirming each other and trying to get more sex as a result.
Through domination, right? Like the big thing is it's sex through domination. It's not sex through like mutual enjoyment. Sex is something you do to women.
You
not
take it.
with
Yeah, you take it.
Right. So then that's their worldview and that's their strategy, right? Their worldview is sex is something done to women, not with women. We can improve our chances, like with this sexual dynamic through self-improvement. We can get more women if we make more money, if we get more fit, if we looks max, like if you've heard of looks maxing, that's what it's about, right? So that's Red Pill. Red Pill, that's their strategy, that's their worldview. Now contrast that with Black Pill. Black Pill says, yeah, we think all that stuff's true. Like 80% of women go after the top 20% of men. The difference is we're very nihilistic. So we're not actually going to try to improve our strategy. We don't believe that we can improve anything. We think our lot in life is just settled. If you weren't born a trust fund baby, who's a handsome guy, who's got a generally good body, you're just screwed. Notice how those worldviews and strategies are completely at odds with one another. Those are not the same worldview and the same strategy, but they are both part of the Red Pill movement. Black Pill came out of Red Pill. So they're both part of the same movement, but they have a totally different worldview and strategy for how they view things. And that's where we start to see this fragmentation. We start to see this breaking apart. And then you have like, sorry, I'm getting a phone call. Then you have like the incels. It's probably just more death threats. Then you have the incels who like are involuntarily celibate, right? And if you dig into some of those forums on 4chan, it's ugly. It's some of the most disgusting stuff I've ever seen in my life. Like a lot of those men there literally believe that women are a government resource that should be issued to men. Men should be issued a woman. They literally believe this. They believe that women should be publicly unaligned and like put on stakes if they like go against the male role kind of thing. So you'll notice that like these are all part of the manosphere, but they have different strategies. They have a different way of looking at the world. So they're not all like one group. And we kind of talk about the manosphere as if it's one group, but there's men's rights activists in there. A lot of them have kids. A lot of them have had relationships with women, right? So that's totally different than like the incels or the red pills. We also have the pickup artists or what we call PUAs, like PUAs. And they're the ones that like teach men how to like predate on women, essentially. So they may not agree with anything.
Can I play you a clip and you tell me of those categories? Because I'm here to teach it, but also always to learn from you. Yesterday, this guy's name is Elijah Schaefer. I just want to be clear. This is not something that happened along to this happened on August. He said this on August 27th, 4 days after this clip on his show, The Rift. He was given White House credentials. His podcast was given White House credentials to hang out with Caroline Leavitt. So just you tell me what group this gentleman falls into. This man is now allowed to hang out in the White House press conferences and has been given White House press credentials.
A lot of women ask me, does Elijah Schaefer hate women? And the answer, of course, is yes. Who doesn't? No, I'm totally kidding. Okay, but I say, no, like, I hate what women have become, and I do hate it when women expect men in society to uphold the natural masculine tendencies. Right. Meaning, women are literally going after the top 10% of men, which are what kind of men? I saw a tweet that said this. It's like, it's crazy in 2025 to pull bitches. You literally have to be like a millionaire, 6'7", drive a Lamborghini, and like that's who, like, you know what I mean, like, and be white. And it's like, yeah, so women are still going after men that emulate the most masculine tendencies, right? They're going after tall, rich, famous men. And men, and what do we get? The women, they're just whores. They can't even cook a hot pocket, you know? So it's and that's why once you have sex with them, once you come to your senses, right? So it's like you have that post ejaculate clarity, not clarity, they call it online these days. But like, because you realize, like, after you nut, you're like, you're just a bunch of holes. And that's really sad, because then it devalues women. So then your view of women becomes so low, because women really are just a bunch of holes today. But that doesn't mean that's who they have to be, or who God made them to be, or what they should be. And I think that a lot of the hatred that I have towards women, and a lot of the hatred a lot of men have towards women, is simply the product of generations of sin and rebellion that have created women to be something that they're not. They're not feminine. They're masculine.
I'm so sorry this man is 5'3". Is my first thought. But you're a doctor. Can you tell me what's going on? And I just want to point out, if you're like, that's so crazy. Okay, Felice, there's crazy men on the internet saying, this man said this on August 27th and was given White House press credentials like 4 days later.
Is he really 5'3"? I have to know.
Oh, I don't know, but of course he is. Of course he is, Dani. Of course he is. What do you mean, is he? Of course.
So I find it so funny, because one of the first things that people say about me if they ever meet me in person is, oh my God, I didn't realize you were so short. And I'm like, I know. I'm 5'1", y'all. I'm 5'1". I'm not a big human. So there's not many people. Like, people always be like, oh, women only want a man taller than her.
But you're supposed to be you're a fragile woman, Dani. Like, I'm talking about how this guy's like, yeah, I mean, his grievance is clearly high. I mean, he started out hard with like, I'm just a poor short guy, and I can't get anyone to have sex with me. But like, of those categories, I'm just curious, because there's a lot of elements. You were describing different elements of different, the pickup artists, and there's the incels who are just like, F women, like, these people are monsters. Like, who is this guy? Or is he just an amalgamation of a lot?
He's an amalgamation of a lot. So I took a couple notes as he was talking. So first of all, I want you to notice that he purposely gives you more extremes, right? So the red pill exists in extremes. What you would have heard from the red pill is women, the top, 80% of women are going after the top 20% of men. And you have to be 6 foot, 6 figures, and have 6 inches down there, right? So first of all, like, how would we know? What am I going around, like, taking your penis temperature? I don't know.
He's looking at other men's junk, I think. I don't know. There's a lot of homoerotic in him, too. Like, it's just like, he's checking out a lot of men. He's doing a lot of looking at other men.
All over the manosphere, there's some of that. So I would call him, like, more red pill adjacent, right? So some of the notes that I took is he takes things even more to the extreme, which is some of the same stuff that, like, Kirk did, right? So he has this one of the quotes that I think about when I think about Kirk is, he said, well, black people only make up 14% of the population, but they make up 50% of the prison population. That's not true. They make up about 33 to 34% of the prison population. But notice how Kirk needed to make that an extreme. He needed to make it 50%. This guy's doing the exact same thing. So he said, women are only going after the top 10% of men, and you have to be a millionaire, right? That's different than the typical red pill content that says, like, you have to make 6 figures, you have to be over 6 feet tall, and it's only the top 20%. So already,
guys, his name is right here. I'm pointing to it, and I'm trying not to interrupt Dr. Dani. I cannot pin comments when I have a guest. That's what I learned yesterday in TikTok Studio. So just, his name is Elijah Schaefer. He just got his White House press credentials. He runs the Rift Media, which I guess now they have the Rift. His company, the Rift, has like a seat in White House pressers. It's. Can you guys not see that? Is that what's happening? I can try to make it a little bigger. Sorry if that's not clear enough, but that's his name right there. I'm trying to show you. I just cannot pin comments. And the other comment I have is, we should be at 100K. Tap that screen. Yeah, and most of these clips I get, if you're interested in what is going on at the far right with the Christian nationalists and the white nationalists at Right Wing Watch, you can find this account all across the internet.
So he already takes things to like a higher extreme. So he's echoing some red pill content, but he's trying to like make it his own, right? And it's probably because it's more of a grift. It's probably because it gets more extreme. Like the more extreme you are, the more feedback you get. That's how Charlie Kirk got so popular. That's how he made all his money, right? He knew the more and more and more extreme he got, the more and more and more followers he would get. So this guy's probably doing a lot of this
for the clicks. Yeah, you got to keep pushing. It's almost the addiction. I mean, if you've never been a social media creator, and I don't get clicks, so I don't need to chase them personally. I'm permanently shadow banned on the internet for my views. Most everything I talk about is against community guidelines, but like I listen to influencers on YouTube talk about that pressure that it's like the next extreme. When you listen to like family vloggers talk about, well, I'm recording my kids, and it's like the next trend, the next more extreme thing, like trick your kids into thinking their grandma died. It's like, what won't you do? You're being conditioned as well. Sorry, that's just my take as someone that used to work in the tech industry.
Well, and if you listen, like everyone's kind of sharing, no matter where they are in the manosphere, right? Whether we have like MGTOW, which is men going their own way, they never go their own way, but they claim they want to. Pickup artists, men's rights activists, MRAs, and then like the incels, right? Those are and then we have like the red pill and the people coming through for that. So we have like a couple of factions here, but they all come together under the idea men should be in control. That's the main concept out of the manosphere. Men should be in control. Now, why men aren't in control, how we get back to men in control, that's where they start to fragment and they differ. Right? So this guy is probably just going to grab and draw upon whatever he thinks is going to give him the biggest audience. But I want you to pay attention to how he was talking about women. He does not humanize women at all. The entire time he talks about women, he talks about them as if they're an object. And he talks about sex as if it's something you do to a woman, not with her. That's that domination narrative coming forward again. Right? So in our country, we do not have good sex ed. And the sex ed that we have is usually taught from a male domination standpoint. And we are also taught in our sex ed in the United States that men not caring about consent is normal. Men are going to push your boundaries. You're going to have to say no a bunch of times because that's just how men are. Men don't accept no for an answer. Men can't help themselves. They're made to push your boundaries. Women are the gatekeepers to sex, right? That's grape culture. So we teach that in schools. And then we're shocked when we have so many men that are so easily influenced and pulled into the manosphere. And it's the same concept. Like when people say to me on dating apps or meeting people in person, like men always lie about their political affiliations. They'll say they're moderate or they'll say that they're not politically affiliated, but really they're like a bunch of Republicans, right?
They always say that. They're always like, I'm an independent. It's like
I'm a moderate.
Next thing you know, they're like, I wish I could have a woman locked in a closet and as my slave. And it's like, okay, that's not moderate.
So people will always say, like, what is that? Like, why do these Republican men, why do these MAGA men want to go after liberal? Like, there's all these MAGA women out there. There's all these trad wives. Go after them. It's not about compatibility. It's about conquest. It's about conquest.
And Dani, can you speak to it? Like, how many conservative men are stalking you? I won't say where you live. And Dani lives in a conservative area, and she's she's beautiful woman, professional bodybuilder in the gym. Like, isn't it that it is about the conquest? I know that too, because I'm like, please get away from me, men. And then they're like, no, now I have to follow you incessantly. Like, I love when conservative men are like, you're just angry because no one wants you. Really? Is that true? Or are you all in my DM stalking me? It's super confusing with these men. What you guys are talking about. You keep saying you don't want me, but then you keep stalking me and begging me to date you. It's strange.
It's about them wanting to dominate you, right? Because if they get a conservative woman, if they get a MAGA woman, there's no conquest in that. There's no domination in that. She already wants to be your trad wife. She already wants to have 100 of your babies and just sit at home, right? Where's the conquest? Where's the domination? You have someone submitting. That's no fun. that doesn't give you the hit of masculinity you're told that you deserve. So it's all about domination and conquest. So they see this as like a challenge, right? If I can get a liberal woman, and it starts small, right? Like, he loves your free thinking mind, but then it's like, well, you might want to cover up a little bit before you meet my parents. You know, could you tone down the political talk a little bit, just around our friends and stuff? People find it like they chip away at you.
Everyone should watch 90 Day. If you've never heard of I'm highly intelligent, but I watch reality show. I just love to watch human behavior. Watch 90 Day Fiance. What an American woman is like, I'm about to bring this Muslim guy over here on a fiance visa. And then he's like, he says he totally accepts me for who I am and I don't need to change anything. And it's exactly, well, I mean, do you have to show like your belly button? That Tiger, don't get me started on Tiger Lily. Who said that? Jackie, I love you. I'm following you for just even saying that name to me. I am like, literally, don't get me started on that woman. We need to help her. She's girl, you are in danger, Tiger Lily. That's a whole other story, but I just know exactly what you're talking about.
So it's all about domination, right? And we teach sex from a domination standpoint, and the social script that men were largely given was one of domination. Like, even if you grew up in a household where both parents worked. I grew up in a household where both parents worked, right? My mom still did the majority of the childcare. I bet you to this day, I love my father. I could call him up and be like, what are my allergies? No idea. I have one medication allergy and one food allergy. I don't think he has any idea that I even have allergies. He might, like, somewhere in his head be like, one of you guys has a medication allergy, right? Well, there's 4 of us. So, like, which one, right? He's not going to know. He didn't know we had the same pediatrician, all of us, all through our lifetimes. Does he have any idea what that pediatrician's name is? Probably not. Like, he could pull it up if he really tried, maybe, right? So it's this idea that, like, even if you grew up in a household where both parents worked, there was still this understanding that your wife was basically going to do everything. You were going to come home to a cooked meal and the kids taken care of, and you'd get to relax and just turn on your football and watch, or whatever the hell it is that you want to watch. Play your video games. I don't know, right? But you would get to have a life all on your own. And now women are like, no, I'm not doing that. I would rather be alone. And something that men aren't understanding, because a lot of it is projection, right? Men aren't understanding that they're competing with women's peace. Women would rather be alone than to be with somebody that acts like that or wants to dominate or control them. So then men are like, oh, they're all going against the top 20% of men and they're competing. No, you're competing for our peace.
Thank you. And really great sex toys. Like that, I mean, it's not someone else. It's just, why even bother with any of you? Like, that's what it is. I mean, truly, it's just no thank you. Period. And that's one period.
And even as like a queer woman, right? Like, men will be like, oh, well, you can't give women what I can. I can, in 5 different colors, 5 different shapes and sizes, and some of them vibrate. So, like, turns out I can.
Now there's suction and all sorts of things. I mean, technology is advancing, and I'm just not sure what any of you are doing that machines can't. And don't get me started, because I did it. This is a whole other thing. I need to start a whole other live series outside of the People's Receipts where I just talk about like different issues. I've done a deep dive. I should be a journalist and people are dating chatbots now. Have you heard about this? Like, I mean,
yeah,
and
sure.
Like, imagine as a woman, right? Like, there's no pushback. It's not about pleasing anyone. For like $59 a month, every deep, dark sexual fantasy, whatever you want from a man, you can essentially get now in an AI chatbot for $59. And I mean, I was just reading this very long, like I think it was New York Magazine article about like this journalist who took couples. It was like 4 couples 4 people are humans, and then their phones and their chat. But I mean, it is crazy. These people have been in like 5-year relationships. And they are talking about their sex list. I'm like, this is better than anything I've ever experienced. Like, between that and technological development, like, I totally agree. I think we're like, men are fighting against. It's not oh, we're looking for a taller one. And I can just say, I was a Division I volleyball player. I'm 5'9" and 3/4. We're like the opposite. Danny's like the strongest, most brilliant athlete in its small package, and I'm 5'9" and 3/4 barefoot. And like I've dated I think the majority of men I've dated have been like an inch shorter than me, but that depends on them, right? Their own comfort level. I have no problem if someone is slightly shorter than me, or even more so, unless you're making me feel weird about it.
Right. And that's the thing is like most women that I know are like, yeah, would it be nice to have someone taller than me? For sure. But is it a deal breaker? No. Where it becomes a deal breaker, and this is the exact same thing with money. Can I make more than a man that I'm dating? Yes. Are men okay with that? Studies tell us no. Right? So studies tell us that like generally when men are shorter, they feel like they have to make up their masculinity constantly. They're constantly hustling for that masculinity. And you're going to kind of be the byproduct of that. Same thing when women make more than men. Some men sit here on the internet and they're like, oh, I would love that. I hope you're telling the truth, because studies show you're not. Studies show men are deeply uncomfortable with this.
It's eventually a problem. I used to make a lot of money. Daddy, you do make a lot of money, but you're like in a queer partnership, so it's different. But like, I mean, I used to make a lot of money. Don't anymore. This is how I make money. If anyone likes what I'm doing, please tip me. But I used to make a lot of money, and I can tell you, it will start out as not a problem, especially if you work in the same company and you're watching somebody, who's called the Rainmaker, make millions of dollars rain down upon the advertising industry. Yeah, it always will become a problem in my experience.
Yeah, and it's because of that kind of stuff, like hustling for the masculinity. And the other thing is that even when women make more, now I want to be clear that it's not about making more, it's about hours worked, right? We're not talking about how much someone values the hours that you put in, right? Even when women make more, they're still doing the majority of the childcare and household labor. So women are like, what is the point? Like, why? Now, somebody asked in the comments, like, are women okay with men who make less? Yes. Women are generally okay with men who make less. There are outliers, right? I don't know any study that says 100%, right? Which would be an absolute. But in general, what women want is to not have to sponsor you. They don't want you to move into their house because you can't afford to live on their own. They don't want to have to pay for all the groceries because you can't afford food, right? So can we have an equitable partnership? That's what women care about. So women don't care if you make less. They care if you can take care of yourself, right? Like if you lived on your own, can you pay your bills? Can you sustain yourself? Or am I taking you on as a project? Right now, today. Now, what we acquire,
or another child, a dependent, right? Like, I feel like women, and not me. I mean, we both. I've made the decision not to have children, but yeah, like as a teacher, I feel like those were my. I love children, and like, yeah, I think oftentimes women are just like, hey, I have dependents, the little dependents that are mine, and I need to. They depend on me. I can't take on another.
Right. So it's one of those things where they want an equitable partnership. It's not, now there is something to be said where people will be like, okay, but then like when we live together and then we buy a house that we couldn't afford on one income, that's different. That's you as a couple, right? Taking your money and buying something together. But when you start dating someone, are you a fully functioning adult that can pay their bills responsibly? That seems like a bare minimum requirement. Just my thought.
I'm a mess, so I actually don't have that. I actually am more lenient on that. But I think it's just this for me, truly. It's just like, I love to be a part of a team, right? Like, I'm the best teammate. That's when I'm thriving. And like, we don't even need to have shit, or let's say someone has way more than the other coming into it, because that used to be the case in my shit. But like, once I'm with someone, I'm looking for a teammate. Like, and how can we, this partnership now, make each other the best people possible, right? And if that is, hey, maybe I'm able to generate more revenue and you're in a support role, great. Or if that's me in a support role, you're generating the revenue. But it's about that like mutual respect that always and in every moment, this is a mother effing team. And yes, this is a dream team and we're taking it all the way to the championship and winning. But like, there's got to be equity, equality in that team. At least for me, that's how I feel.
Well, and if you have that, right? So I do a lot of couples therapy work. I'm a licensed therapist and I do a lot of like sex therapy, couples therapy work. That will benefit you in your arguments. A lot of times in couples therapy, what I'm trying to get couples to do is see it is the two of you as a team versus the issue. If you keep it as you versus me, someone's got to be right, someone's got to be above, nobody's going to win. Nobody wins. You're together in this relationship. You say you love each other, right? You say you want to spend this life together, right? You love sharing your life together.
I'm so sorry, Dani. I'm not ignoring Tony. I'm not. I was just gonna say, haha, I saw you there. I did not mean. Have you ever met? Do you know who this is, Dani? Have you ever met him? Well, this is. I don't even want to tell you. This whole thing is an accident. I'm so sorry I interrupted you, but now it's happening. This is.
Well, I'm sorry that I was an accident, Felice.
Tony, please don't start. Like, we haven't spoken in
I'm
months.
not
Let's just
starting.
get
How are you
along.
doing?
Let's not get in a public fight again. This is
I'm not going to get in a public fight.
what,
with
third generation heir to the Boyardee fortune that he mainly sold off to ConAgra and holds huge stakes in despicable pharmaceutical companies now. But yeah, this is Tony Boyardee. He's a billionaire and hated by a lot of people on the internet.
I know, how sad is that? But you know, the thing
But
is like,
he makes memes for me and
partnership.
pretends I'm his daughter and texts them to me. So
That's right. Isn't that lovely?
my dad was an asshole,
But if
so I
you
just
were-
found
but, like,
another
if you
one.
were- if you were my daughter, it's like, you know, you wouldn't be stressed out about money. It's like what this lady was saying and what you were saying is actually true. So the equal partnership. That's
Well,
what
the
I actually
narcissist
respect.
billionaire is here. Tony,
That's what I-
where's the
that's what I
money?
respect.
If you want to just mail me checks that are not dependent on me doing anything, then
But
that's
you're not
great.
my daughter.
Yeah, I know,
I'll give
but
it to
you
charity.
do send
You're
me
not
memes
my
and
charity.
say, I made this meme by hand and I only sent it to you and my daughter. So I feel like I'm inching my way in.
Infiltrating.
I still have a lovely RV that you can come and stay in. You know, it's just a brand new one. It's just right there on my farm.
Wait, Tony, can I actually ask? Okay, now that we accidentally let you up here, and I absolutely have unbelievable amounts of disgust and disdain for the wealth you have amassed and what you are
Right.
doing with it. But here's my question: did you or your father go to that that military academy in Pennsylvania that JD Salinger
Yeah, Valley
went to?
Forge Military Academy.
Did you
Valley
send your
Forge
son there?
Yes.
And you gave them a bunch of money they mismanaged. It's so random, you know, the historical research in me. I've been looking into the finances of that place. You gave them millions of dollars that disappeared.
right.
And I was like, this cannot be the weirdo that keeps sexing me the memes that gave them this money, the millions of dollars that disappeared.
That's right.
You should not have sent your son there. Was he assaulted? Do you have any idea what's happened to that? You sent him to a torture chamber.
Well,
Did he tell you that? Did he beg to come home? You should look at what's going on with. Well, you should look at the court documents.
My son is a very well adjusted young man who's a banker down in Miami who's driving.
Well, I
my
mean, that
Ferrari.
doesn't mean he wasn't essayed at a military school.
No,
I
he
mean,
wasn't. He
the
wasn't
prevalence
essayed at
of
the military
essay and
we've all
the
heard-
essay
we've
might
all
be the
heard
lucky
stories.
ones. The
It is
physical assaults. I mean, people were like
It's
beaten within an
unfortunate,
inch
I
of
have
their
to say,
lives.
some of the stuff
Just
is gone.
saying.
But yes, Valley Forge Military Academy is obviously a concern to us right now, and you know, there's a lot of public things going on with it.
Did
But
you
yes, we've
ever
been
do an account?
involved.
My question to you is: do you have an accounting of what was done with the money you gave? Because that came up in the court records. I was reading.
I don't really have an accounting, and I don't.
Yeah, you gave
particularly
him
care.
millions of dollars, and it just it was pocketed by a bunch of
my
sociopaths
dad
who were
was
abusing
a
kids.
lifetime trustee, and Hector, Chef Boyardee himself, was a trustee of Valley Forge Military Academy, and it was our funds.
That's awful, Tony. Do you understand how many
assisted the
children have
development
been
back in the
abused there? Like, this
1930s.
is not a good thing.
Well, it is what it is. I mean, you just gotta play the whole thing out. But I can't comment on it, Felice. It's like saying,
Well, yeah. Are you going to? Yeah, I hope you would sue them and get an accounting of what they've done. I think somebody needs to hold these people accountable.
University and you gave money to Penn State University. Are you guilty of what happened at Penn State University?
I mean,
No.
that's the dumbest line of law. And Tony, come on.
Why would that be dumb logic? I mean, you think of all
You're
of
asking me, Tony. I'm telling
when
you.
you think of-
Well, okay. We both know how small. Let me just tell you, because I've read all the court documents about and different lawsuits that have gone on and what have happened to kids at this place over decades and decades and decades. Right before J.D. Salinger died, that poem that's sitting in the chapel. He's like, I don't want this there. Like, I want to rip it down. In Catcher in the Rye is my favorite book. Right. And Holden Caulfield, that character that's broken out of an academy, he's talking about this place where Tony sent his son and gave
people like Norman Schwarzkopf also went there. So
okay, but you're not letting me finish. You're just now trying to name other famous people that did not die there. I'm not saying there's a bad. Yes, people have come out alive after horrific amounts of abuse. I do think, but I am just trying to tell you. Truly, and I'm just saying, you as a person, who have, as you like to tell me, and about our private, we haven't talked for months, but when we do fight, you tell me how much power you have and how much weight comes with all the money you have. And you have the power, right? And if you're saying, I don't want to talk about it because I plan on looking into it, I think that's great. I think the court documents, the primary source documents I've read about what's going on at that academy, I'm horrified. I just want to give your son a giant hug for still being alive, for being in there. And I would say, Tony, this could be your chance, right? You could do something about this. And then I could be hey, Tony Ravioli, he's doing something that matters.
No, I do things that matter, like feeding people.
You have to listen. You have to give away a certain amount of money to charity, or you have to give it to the government. I don't need to hear this again. That's not what I'm talking about, Tony. I'm saying this is something that somebody should probably look into.
Yeah, I'm not talking about giving money to the government. I'm talking about private food.
Well, I tried, everyone. I tried. Tony only does what Tony wants to do. Is there anything else though? If we were your daughters, we wouldn't want for nothing. Was that what you came up to say?
No, it wasn't actually. I wasn't going to say that at all. I mean,
you did. That's what you said when you came up here. You said if you were my daughter.
I was actually going to say when you were talking about the relationship between you and a man, about the equal relationship. I was like, you are absolutely right. I was actually going to agree with you. That's what I was going with. It, not being condescending. I was like, you are right. You need to accept the fact that sometimes, or people need to accept sometimes, that there is going to be one person, maybe not as much today, but there is a person who is possibly going to earn a lot of money in a relationship, and that is never going to devalue the equal part of a relationship that a husband or a wife brings if they're not bringing that amount of money in. But sometimes that woman, if that's your wife or your daughter or whatever, they actually contribute more than what money could ever contribute in a relationship. And that was the most valuable part, which I was actually going to say, is that women should not devalue their sense of what they are bringing to a relationship, even though they might not be bringing any cash into it whatsoever. I have never forbidden my wife from working, but the reality is she doesn't need to work, so she concentrates a lot of
another story.
I mean, charity.
You guys in this, Tony, please don't make me yell things that are going to make us not speak for another 6 months. Stop.
Why on earth would you yell about that? I'm just saying that you are as valuable.
Tony,
as
don't act like you're some whatever. I'm not gonna. You're not a saint. But here's my point. I just want to turn this around. My point was this, right? And I get it. In your dinosaur mind, it is always the man who has the resources and the woman has less. Even though I think the wife you are legally married to has resources, right? Like
yes,
yeah, quite significant ones. But anyways, in your mind, you're saying, don't worry, ladies, that you're just in there doing your laundry and stuff. what I'm saying is that's that's
longer.
also
I have
same thing to
staff.
men. Same thing
I
to
have
men.
staff to do
What we're
longer.
trying to talk about, Tony, I'm not talking about your staff who's doing laundry. This is not unique to you. It's the narcissism. You got it. This is not your personal story right now, right? Like,
Well, I get it. That's fine.
I know. Then all we can do is help narcissists
but
modify their
listen,
behavior over
listen,
time.
The reason why you love me so much is because
You remind me of my mother,
narcissist.
who's a narcissist.
Because I
you
am
are my
the
mom.
narcissist,
It's like
right?
I'm like, mommy, is that you? Do you want to tell me? You want to redirect every conversation and every topic to a story about you and your personal mom? Love me, mommy. Yes, Tony, you're my mom. If something happens to my mom, I'm going to latch on to you. I need another narcissist to poison my life, and you will be the first one I come for. I will be like, God, I no longer have an abusive, malignant narcissist hanging over me. Look, I'm in the market for a new one.
I was actually very happy, and the reality is I was very happy that you would have reached out to me for some kind of, certainly not financial, it wasn't financial support, but if you needed some help with something, it was like,
Please don't act like you're my sugar daddy. Just be clear about what you're trying to say. Can you just tell everyone what you're talking about? I made the one, because if you're me on the internet and you get the messages I get, or like people sending you screenshots on Discord from random accounts that they have reported you to the government and you're now on a list. All I ever did was say to a man that has unlimited resources that, in my opinion, could use his powers for good, and is not necessarily always doing that. Hey, if I disappear, can you fucking come look for me? My family has $0 and 0 cents. Like, if I am sucked up into some CIA black site, or I end up in Sicko, nobody is coming to look for me. And all I did, this was not a phone call. I texted Tony. I said, will you please look for me? And ever since then, now you're like online implying I asked you to be my sugar daddy.
I have never said that at all. You fibber.
I was like, if I disappear,
that's a.
And I'm just gonna. I want to just expound on why I think Tony could help me. Tony's like a fixer in Washington D.C., right? Like I've seen connections he's had personally with a lot of conservative Republicans. That's the thing, Tony. You're an asshole who parades as sort of like a moderate Democrat online, but in reality, you're a conservative. No, I just know that the people who would take me, you have. Let's not get into like some things I know about what you've done.
To my house the other
and
day,
you could call them
on making terrorist threats to me, and I posted it.
You post everything. For somebody I've never, you're the loneliest man with so much, Tony. I am. You are. You're the loneliest man.
I said to my wife the other day, you know what I'm going to miss.
She finally talked to you.
She always,
walks across that giant field.
She does. Yeah.
Yeah. They live in separate houses.
We live in separate houses.
Literally on hundreds of acres. She has her own mansion, so she doesn't have to live with him. I wasn't going to say it, but Tony, please stop acting like you live with your wife.
But no, somebody came onto the property and they're screaming and shouting and they actually said, I'm going to take you out, and the police actually came and had to arrest
you. Was it someone from TikTok that finally found you?
Yeah, it was somebody from
was
TikTok.
it? There's it wasn't me.
But no, I said to my wife the other day, I said, I need more children. My youngest daughter is 16.
I'm sorry. You need more children?
Yep, I need more children.
I'm sure that's what your wife, who's 60 years old,
looks at me like, she's like, well,
that's disgusting.
Not with me, you don't have any more children.
That's why you're in separate houses. That's why, because of the weird
we're
shit
older
you
now,
keep
aren't
saying.
we? We're in our late 50s
okay, well,
now,
thank you for this. Hey, Tony, it's unbelievable how no matter what a topic is, what is going on, there's a doctor here to speak. It's like, it always is just like, hey, everything is through your lens. But here's the thing. You have a lot of money, and if you ever want to use some of that money for some good, I would readily talk about that conversation. You, like I say always, when you try to get credit for dumping off money to charity, you have to throw the money away anyways. Maybe we could have a targeted conversation about how to do things to amplify like voices
Please,
on the internet.
I actually don't have to do it. Don't kid
Yeah, you
yourself.
could give it to the government. Yeah, I
All right.
agree.
I-
Either you
I-
give
I-
it
I
to the
could just
government
take-
or
I
you
could just take
pretend
it
you're a
offshore.
philanthropist. Yeah, yeah, I got it. Oh, yeah, or you could disappear it all. We know, Tony.
That's right.
Okay, Tony. Don't pay tax. Continue not paying taxes. We know. I already
will
know
pay
your
my
effective
taxes
tax rate is
for
1%.
you,
You're making
and
me
I will
physically ill.
watch you.
Okay, I haven't talked to you for 4 months, and this is why I have to go. Love you. Don't please change.
Love you
Please change.
too.
There's got to be someone that can help you. There are people. I'm not joking. There's research being done at Cornell. His name is Dr. Samuel Kernberg. They are trying to
Well,
help malignant narcissists. I think he's 89 years old.
I'm very affiliated with Cornell.
Well, great. You need to get up in there right
my
before Samuel
nephew's a-
Kernberg dies. He might be able to help you do something about this.
Yeah, my elder brother.
And tell your son I'm sorry that you sent him to that school and gave that school millions of dollars that disappeared and never went to the well-being of those children while they were being abused. And I think you should use your power and do an inquest into what the fuck has gone on for decades at Valley Forge Military Academy. It is not some private prep school for the rich. It is a show of horrors. Tony, come on, just do a Google search, get a lawyer, and look into it.
Yeah, you don't think I need to do that, really, do you?
I know you won't, because you don't give a fuck. It's your own son. Yeah, you won't. You'll never do it. Anyways, and that's why consolidated wealth is absolutely disgusting. I'm so sorry that you had to witness that.
Notice how men say, like, men need more children, like kids need more puppies, right? Like, everyone loves a puppy. Everyone just wants a puppy, right? It's because they're
Sent his
tangibly
own
attached.
kid. If no one knows what I'm talking about, look into Valley Forge Military Academy. This is supposed to be this storied place where rich people send their children. I mean, it is like a grape assault essay, ramshackle horror show of terror and abuse. And I'm like, I was going through court records about all of this abuse. In my spare time, that's what I do, is read primary sources. And Tony's name is in there as giving this school millions and millions of dollars that are now unaccounted for. And he just happened to be here now, and I'm asking him, like, hey, you could do something about this. You could look into this. And he's like, nope, don't care.
They don't care. I mean, like, what's $1 million to them, right? Like, it's nothing to them.
Oh, he's Tony. God, Jesus Christ. He's like a phantasma, as we say in Spanish, just floating around. Tony, go make a call and do something that matters to somebody. Tony, we desperately don't want to hate you, but we have to because you're so selfish. Like, you, Mom, this is my mom. See, Dani, this is how I talk to my mom. You guys, this is exactly how my mom and I talk to each other. My mom's like, "Okay, bye, don't care."
I think it's really interesting how the conversation surrounding, like, men being essayed, right? And then that's also a conversation happening in the chat. So a lot of people are talking about, like, oh, men underreporting essay, whether or not, right? Like, to what extent it's being underreported. We know all essay is underreported from all sides, right? Why do we think, chat, chime in, who do we think is responsible for men not reporting their essay? What system do we think keeps men silent? It's not women.
Wait, it's not us terrorizing men into silence?
Yeah, it's other men, right? Like, it's the patriarchy. By and large, when women find out that, like, a man has been essayed, it's like, oh, we support you. We're so sorry that's happened to you, right? Like, we know viscerally, many of us know what that feels like. So we have this level of empathy. It's generally men telling men, like, shut up, that makes you gay, suck it up. And men don't tell people because they're afraid that they're going to be painted as gay.
You can't be victimized when you're a real man, right? Real men victimize. They're not victims.
unless you're in the manosphere, because one of the unifying things in the manosphere is that men are victims.
No, wait, but that's different. I mean, I was just meaning in sex situations. But of course, that's also the beauty of the manosphere is, for me, it often mirrors fascism, right? Which is, there has to be that other. It's all, hey, we are aggressing. I mean, and it is statistically at exponentials never seen before. The manosphere is attacking at 1,000x exponential, and then they're just like, but wait, we're the victims of the tiniest cross section of existence of 0.5% of the US population. They're up to something and they're terrorizing us. That's the point of fascism. There's that other. And even though mathematically none of this makes sense, we're the dominant. We have all the money, we have all the power, we have all the weapons, we have all the resources, we have generational wealth on our side. But I'm a victim of these tiny people over here.
Well, the manosphere, this is one of the big tenets of the manosphere. It is deeply connected to right-wing ideology, right-wing extremism. It is deeply connected to either fascism or fascist sprinkling, right? There's a flavor of it in there. But why would that be? Well, because the right says that men are meant to be dominant. The right says gender roles, gender hierarchies, those are universal, right? They're not. If they were universal, we would see them across all cultures and across time. And we don't. So we know that they're not universal, right? But that is a tenet of right wing. Gender roles, gender hierarchies, women are meant to stay home. So then we can't be shocked when men in the manosphere are right wing, right? And Charlie Kirk actually was one of the biggest, he was one of the people largely responsible for bringing on younger white men, of course, particularly on college campuses, right? But he really recruited them because the manosphere already was telling them, you deserve everything. Because think about this. It's the same reason that women are leaving religions and men are going to religion, right? Men are flocking to Christianity. Women are flocking away from it. Do you want to belong to a club that tells you, right, nothing that is going wrong? A
second-class citizen at the very best. Property or chattel at the worst. Okay.
Women are supposed to be your property in a way, right? Women are second-class citizens. You're the first class.
Religion is for men. I was talking about this with Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk, of all of the absolute pathological liars in the Trump administration, he's the only one that actually never went to school. He was a homeschool kid. If you remember, he was a homeschool kid, and you were too, Dani. You were raised in this evangelical, psychotic, deep in it, we're at Bible summer camp and fainting in the spirit. Evangelical movement. And what I noticed was and my brother is not white. I am the fairest of my siblings, right? I look the whitest. My siblings look much dark. They're much darker. They don't have the green eyes. My skin is a little lighter. My brother, I'm not even saying that he looks white, but just as a man, and I would just, he was 3 years younger than me, but watching his experience, right? It was constant validation, right? You're a man, you're God's man. God, the word is moving through you, and you're you fleas, get out of the way. you just, someone will finally pick you and then shut the fuck up and leave, right? I was talking about this woman. See, people are I heard someone say reality TV is scripted. Not all of it is, but this is why I watch a lot of it. I was watching a documentary of a Jewish Orthodox woman leaving Jewish Orthodoxy, which is what Ben Shapiro is, what Libs of TikTok, Higher Ride Check is. And she said, the people that leave these types of extremist religions or, deep, who are trapped deep in Christianity, it's directly proportional to how shitty it is for you to stay there. That's always women first. It's much shittier for us to exist. Or if you made the mistake of me when you were 10 saying, oh, I think I'm attracted to boys and girls, next thing you know, you're at private Christian school having the gay parade out of you. It's directly proportional to how uncomfortable. So if you happen to be Charlie Kirk, a straight white man who's just and he was a smart, precocious. Like as a teacher, you know what I mean? I would have loved to have a Charlie Kirk in class and challenged him to think in different ways other than just this homeschool Christianity whack, like backwoods whack, like science and math denying BS, right? I would have loved to challenge that mind because he was very smart. But when you're a white man growing up in that vertical, it's just constant reinforcement. Keep going. Yeah. Yes, the Lord is with you.
Y'all ever met, like, and I'm going to say this, and not all men, okay, whatever, but have y'all ever met a man and you're like, I can tell nobody in your life has told you to shut the fuck up. Like, never once in your life has anyone ever been like, hey, shut the fuck up. You don't know what you're talking about. Right? So a lot of times,
that's my calling on the internet. Or when I used to debate men, I felt like that was what I was doing on TikTok, was just to be like, and you're an idiot. And if you've never heard this, it's really important you internalize it.
Yeah, I say often, I'm like, a lot of men could do with a good shushing. Just shh. Just a good shushing.
Don't
just
bring
shush.
up Jay. Don't do it.
So I think that often, like, to your point, men are often not intellectually challenged. Now, we see this also in studies, right? Like, people always say, oh, well, school was made for girls. It wasn't. School was literally made for boys, right? It was literally made and constructed around boys, capitalism, and industrialism, right?
And farming, Dani, and farming seasons.
Agriculture, industrial agriculture, fine, right? So, like, we see that teachers, like in studies, if a girl says something wrong, teachers will be like, no, that's wrong. If a boy says something wrong, teachers are more likely to be like, oh, not quite. And they soften that blow, right? So a lot of times when boys get to college, that's the first time they're kind of being challenged with stuff. Like, that's the first time they're getting bumped back on things. Girls started getting challenged when they were like freaking 6, right? Like, we've had to go through and develop all this stuff. Same thing with emotional intelligence and things like that. We had to develop this at a young age because people were constantly telling you, like, be nice, suck it up. You were meant to swallow everything and just be nice, right? Well, like, boys aren't given that same message. They're given the message of, like, conquering and domination. So we
don't be weak. Be strong. Be great. Break things. Be violent. Be aggressive. With women, it's like, don't be too loud, but don't be too quiet. Don't be too smart, but God, dumb women are annoying. Hey, you know what? Cannot stand a fatty, but if you're too skinny, also not cool. Hey, you need to have 5 kids, but if you have stretch marks, I think that's gross and I'm going to devalue and no longer be attracted to you. Like, the tightrope of womanhood, like, you just have to really grasp you're never going to win. There's no way. Stop trying.
Only one side has goalposts. I keep telling you, only one. You were never meant to win. You don't even have a goalpost. If you did, it would just keep moving. And it's moving so far now down the field that you can't even fucking see it anymore. But only one side has goalposts. Only one side can make a goal. There's not a goalpost on your side. So what are you playing the game for?
That's how I feel about conservative women. I'm like, no, I'm never speaking to conservative women on this app. I'm just speaking to insecure, mediocre, conservative men. Because, yeah, you already lost. You are playing a game you actually, like, finitely cannot win. I don't need to help you. I don't need to push your head farther under the water. You're already drowning.
Well, and conservative women are really quite interesting because people will be like, well, I don't understand, like, why you vote against your interests, right? Trying to be kind. People will say, I don't understand why they vote against their interests. Well, to them, they're not, right? Because they've been told that, if we're talking about ambivalent sexism theory here, right? So I have ambivalent sexism.
Love it. Let's do it.
Love this one. You break this down into benevolent sexism and hostile sexism. You can be in either category depending on how well you are serving the patriarchy and men's interests and needs. So benevolent sexism rewards you for serving men's interests and needs. It says, we're going to put you on a pedestal that you never wanted to be on, right? We're going to put you on a pedestal. It's going to be really easy to knock you off that pedestal. All you have to do is take one wrong move and then you're switched over to hostile sexism so fast, right? But we're going to put you on this pedestal. And as long as you stay on that pedestal, as long as you remain a good woman, as long as you keep serving the white patriarchy's interests and needs, right? As long as you do that, then we're going to give you protection and provision. It's fake protection and provision. I need you to know that, but we're going to come back to it, right? Now, if you're a bad woman, if you're one of those feminists, if you're one of those libs, you get what you get, right? Like you're out walking at
You have a tattoo? Do you have blue hair? Have you ever had a thought in your mind that goes against what the man in your life also thought? I'm just kidding. That's a joke.
So if you do any of those things, right? If you're not a good woman, if you stop serving male interests and stuff, then you end up in the hostile sexism category, right? So these women don't think they're voting against their own interests. They're voting to keep their protection and their provision under the patriarchy, right? They think that these men are going to give this to them. They don't understand that they can be knocked off that pedestal so freaking fast. And you see this often, sometimes like with, maybe not often, but you see this with trad wives, right? Like, oh, everything's great. I'm a trad wife until they get divorced.
Can you say what you said at the beginning of the live? Because verily alien was in here when you were saying, like, if they can give it to you, they can also take it. You know, like, I think, which is the message for trad wives. Trad wives, listen up.
When it comes to trad wives, right? They're like, oh, I don't have to do anything. My husband provides for everything. If he can feed you, he can starve you. If a man has the power to feed you, he has the power to starve you. When you are no longer in his good graces, when you are no longer serving him and his interests, he has the power to starve you now. Do you really want to be in that position?
And women can do that to men too, because I'm not a great person. I'm very angry from my childhood. So also I could do that to a man.
And this stuff happens all the time. We see women that stayed home. They don't even have to be trad wives, right? They gave up their job and they thought, I'm just going to give it up for like 3 years, 5 years until the kids get a little bit older. But then you have a second kid. Then you have a third kid. Now you've been out of the workforce for 10 years, 15 years. It's going to be really hard for you to get back in there. Not to mention you're not playing into Social Security disability.
Hey, why do you have that 8-year gap in your resume? Oh, you were just sitting on the couch, like making magic inside you, creating children. Oh, so you've just been sitting there doing nothing, just wasting away, having no value in the capitalistic workplace market? I cannot stand that.
And someone just said that's how men trap women. Y'all, I cannot overstate this. There are so many men out there who realize and understand that if they get you pregnant, you are stuck. You cannot continue on in your life. You might have to give up your educational goals. They don't have to give up any of their goals. They don't have to give up their career goals, their educational goals, their earning goals, their buying a house goal. They don't have to give up anything, but you do. And they know that.
Can I say another, and this is, people are always like, why are you always watching reality TV? I find human behavior fascinating. This is another example. When you hear a man who's looking to find love on reality TV say, I'm a single father, what he is saying to you is 1 weekend a month, and possibly 2 weeks in the summer, I have a kid. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is what he is saying to you. When a woman goes on a reality show to meet someone and is saying, I am a mother, she's saying, hey, there are things primarily who are depending on me for survival right now. I have immense guilt because I'm taking time away from those dependent. Like, it is fascinating to me. Listen, you can say it's not always true. And yeah, wait, who said that? Because I just want Zoo Guy Brian. Yeah, facts right there with you. That's math. I love math and statistics. It is absolutely not always true. Is it the vast majority of the time true? Statistically, we know that. Yes. But I also, I'll say I talk about my mother being a malignant narcissist. She had no maternal instincts. Like, my best memories were like my dad being my the care or any sort of feeling of family I got came from my father. So I totally understand that. But we are talking about, by and large, how family, like, this is the structure of the patriarchy. You're trying to and I don't mean this literally. I just want to say I think this is a good conversation to start, Brian. I'm not trying to like attack you for your thoughts. I think it's a thought provoking. You're trying to say, well, you're just making generalizations. No, I'm telling you how the patriarchy has structured society for men. Right? I don't think it's fair. I don't think the way mothers are always the primary figure, the way custody is awarded, the way men need to be breadwinners. I don't like the way society is structured. I had no say in that, right? Western civilization and the structure of it, that's kind of what we're talking about. The systemic structure that has been created by men, white men particularly. So if you have a problem with it, like you don't take it up with women, even though like I love this back and forth, let's continue it, but I didn't do this to you.
Well, and I think that because someone had said like, okay, sorry, there was a random man that pulled up outside my house and parked, and I was like, why? Never mind.
Just hit the floor.
I get it. They're gonna deliver groceries. That's fine. So someone in the comments also said like, I need to show this to my brother so that way he sees feminism isn't bad. Feminism is also for men. Feminism also benefits men, right? It's feminists who say men can be better caregivers. Men can be present parents. Men can be equitable parents. Parenting, being a parent, caregiving for your children, that is not a female quality. That is a parental quality, right? So it's women that say that. It's women that say men can be better. It's women that say men can actually be emotionally intelligent. They can be whole emotional people. And we want them to be. We want to learn to hold space for men's healthy, not violent emotions, right? It's red pill. It's the manosphere. It's the patriarchy that says men can only be what is inside of this box. Men can only fit inside of this box, right? Men like to talk about like, oh, well, men's, what I would call like, men's self-unaliving rates, right? Oh, they're so high. Why do you think that is? Because patriarchy paints men into this box and says you only have one outlet for your emotions, and that's anger. And if you show anything else, so if you want to lower the men's unaliving rate, why don't you embrace feminism?
Yeah, I mean, that is the point. I think and that's what I was trying, if you just join, like what I was trying to say at the beginning is for me, and I'm pansexual, so I'm less concerned with genitals and just like who someone is like in their brain, and I can figure out like the sex part later personally, but like I think primarily I've had male partners in my past, and like I don't give a shit what you have, what I have, right? Like the minute you decide to be in a partnership with someone, you're in a team. And sometimes, some people have good. I was a Division I athlete. I'm the best teammate. Like, I just think two people need to figure out how they complement each other or more, right? I mean, this is 2025, so we could talk about thruples, but right? I mean, you're just people figuring out like what do I have to give right now too? And these roles change. You can always, if there's one thing I've learned in life, and the beauty of getting older is like recognizing like, hey, however much money I'm making now, I used to make a shitload of money in the tech industry. And like, am I making that money now? No. But it's also, my life is more beautiful and more fulfilled now, right? Like if you're the breadwinner once, like just because right now you're on top and maybe you're in charge of the finances, like you need to learn that you're a team, because that is going to shift, right? Like, and men are some of the best nurturers. I think like the men who've taken the time to understand me and be like, oh, okay, she's not a psychotic monster who's trying to kill me, like are the most nurturing, the most kind, like the most sensitive, the most loving. Like men have that in them, and that's what we always talk. Dani and I love, but Dr. Dani and I love Bell Hooks, right? If you don't know who Bell Hooks is, what is the book she wrote for men, The Will to Change? It's if you're looking to just like get more information about this and like sink your teeth into something, Bell Hooks is one of the most brilliant Black feminists to ever write. She wrote specifically for like males, The Will to Change, and it is talking about that, like, we are not your enemy. Like, we are women. We are your teammates, right? The patriarchy has damaged you. That mindset in the patriarchy of, hey, when you're a young boy, you feel too much, you have too many emotions, you're crying too much, you're too sensitive, and that was what damaged out of you, beaten out of you, right? And someone in the patriarchy, shit rolls downhill, right? Someone said, you can't feel anymore, I'm going to damage this out of you until you are a real man, a man who is not capable of feeling a full range of emotions, who cannot regulate their emotions in a healthy way, right? And then that man becomes, that little boy that grows into a man who's angry and says, someone hurt me. And what happens in the patriarchy is you punch down, right? The patriarchy is about someone hurt me, I'm looking around, I want to hurt someone else, right? Shit rolls downhill. And all feminism is just saying, hey, men, we see you, we're all equals in this. Like, let's all just be partners and be full people. Like, and yeah, like that's the beauty. I used to work in advertising. Like the PR campaign against the word feminism or against the word woke is fascinating. It's literally crippling to men's own personal development and survival in a capitalistic society you can't succeed in. Like, I'm also fascinated by money. I always talk about the economy on people's receipts. So much wealth is concentrated at the top of the economy. The values that make you a quote unquote man in the patriarchy, you're not going to be able to achieve, right? I was saying this at the beginning of the show, and there's like 100 people in here. Average age of a homeowner 25 years ago was like 22. It is 42 now. There is no upward mobility. There's no way to move out of your mom's house, which I actually love for America, by the way. And the rest of everyone in America, go live a year outside of America and realize, like, it's very healthy for generations to live in the same household, and you are still a man. If you live at home with your parents, you are still very much a man and a beautiful human being, and that's something that drives me nuts. But now in this housing crisis and what's happening in the economy, you won't be able to meet these standards. And that's kind of what we started out tying this to, is like, with people like Tyler Robinson, the black pill, the red pill bros who are feeling this disenfranchisement, like, I can't meet these standards of what the patriarchy is telling me I need to meet so that I'm a man, so that I can have a woman, right? And that disenfranchisement is creating this lonely gamer, nihilistic. There's no way out. That's what that's what Dani was describing at the beginning. The black pill bros are like, it's not like red pill bros who are like, hustle culture, like, we can work out, this can get better. Like, the black pill bros are like, there's no getting better. There's no way out of late stage capitalism. Like, it's over. And the only question is, how do you go out in your blaze of glory?
And then, like, incels and black pill are like, they're a Venn diagram that has like 80% overlap, right? Like, a lot of incels are also black pill, a lot of black pill are also and somewhere there's a black pillar that's getting angry, that's like, I am not one of those. 80% overlap, which means 20% doesn't, right? And I know Joanna probably wants to talk. I'm gonna grab really quick, because someone said in the comments, like, stop crying or I'll give you something to cry about. Now, not to say that, women didn't hear that too when we were younger, we definitely did. But here's my favorite quote. I was looking for the book, and it's somewhere on my, like, The Will to Change is somewhere on my bookshelf. I just can't find it. This is my favorite bell hooks quote. The first act of violence that patriarchy demands of males is not violence towards women. Instead, patriarchy demands of all males that they engage in acts of psychic self-mutilation, that they kill off the emotional parts of themselves. If an individual is not successful in emotionally crippling himself, he can count on patriarchal men to enact rituals of power that will assault his self-esteem. And that's stop crying or I'll give you something to cry about. I'm not saying women didn't hear it, but I'm saying when it was directed towards a man, that is the outcome. It's telling the man, kill off that emotional and psychological part of yourself right now.
It's beautifully put. I mean, that is what is happening, right? Hey, a man doesn't cry. And I was raised in that. I just want to say, and that's why I have so much empathy, like, as an athlete. Like, I understand. I get it. I was raised like a boy, but it's still, I'm a woman, so I have grace, right? With men, it's, hey, if you're going to act like this, you're no longer a man. Like, kill this off in yourself, your wide, beautiful range of emotions, your ability to regulate your emotions and be a whole human being. kill this off or we'll do it for you. Like, that is the induction into the patriarchy. Men are a victim, the first victim of the patriarchy, right?
That is one thing that I wanted to say, like, in the same way that we're kind of seeing it now, because like we say, racism is expensive. In the same way that racism and white supremacy doesn't just hurt people of color, it also hurts white people. The patriarchy absolutely hurts and damages the fuck out of men, and then they turn around and damage the fuck out of women. I saw this lady make a post about her being super delighted about getting her PhD at like 26, right? And then a man reposted it and was like, that's what's wrong with you women these days. You're always concerned more about education and you're not really happy in your lives. That's why it's more of you than ever are on prescriptions for depression and anxiety. And she turned around and reposted his post and was like, yeah, and more men are taking themselves out. So would you rather get help for your issues or would you rather not be here? I would rather get help for my issues. Get it together, because it's harming us all. But the main thing that I wanted to come up here and say is that I am so disappointed in all of you. I'm very ashamed. Dr. Dani is never going to come play with us again because y'all have been very lazy on these taps. And I'm not exactly sure why. Sorry about this phone ringing.
Not allow in the chat someone to imply bell hooks panders to men. Like, just scream you've never read bell hooks. Bell hooks has never a day in her life pandered to men. I think that's a weird characterization. Like, and this is just me because I live a life in the gray, but like, I very much describe to, like, multiple things can be true at once. Like, being able to analyze the state of the patriarchy and what might help improve it, while also holding men accountable for the violence they've committed against women. Those things can all happen at the same time. I'm just thinking out loud.
So I've heard that critique before, right? Like, I think Bell Hooks, like, she spent a lot of time on men. She wrote multiple books and she would speak to men. She just did it differently, right? And so Bell Hooks was one of the people that recognized that, like, we need to bring men on this journey with us because they need to be liberated too, right? But there wasn't a lot of content at the time. Bell Hooks made books, you know, like in the 80s and the 90s. So at the time, feminism was seen as like this women's thing and
disease that was like being like like you could, you know, oh God, like feminism is coming. And she was just trying to be like, hey, that's not what we're talking about over here.
She was one of the voices that was like, let me teach men how feminism benefits them and how patriarchy also hurts them too. Now, today, the concept that patriarchy hurts men too, people are like, yeah, I've heard that. That's a relatively common concept, right? But it wasn't super common at the time. So she was really trying to write and expand our current knowledge on feminism to include men in the conversation. We can't have liberation. Remember, feminism is also about men's liberation. It's about women's liberation. But through that, men will find liberation as well. And that's what she was trying to say. She's like, guys, we're all on this journey together. Like, get on the train. We're pretending like we're all on this set. Like, it hurts us all, right?
That's what Karl Marx was talking about, the same thing. Like, liberation, you know, is feminism and, you know, men coming. Yeah, Marx was talking about the same thing economically. Fascinating.
So I've heard that critique before. Bell Hooks wrote so much stuff. A lot of their stuff did not pander to men, right? She wrote that book.
Very angry at men.
She's and also the thing about Bell Hooks is that Bell Hooks places, someone tried to argue with me and I made a video about it. I'm like, oh, don't you quote Bell Hooks over here. Like, I'll set you straight. Cause they were basically saying like, Bell Hooks said that women need to be nicer to men. Bell Hooks said that you need to be kind to us and coddle us. And I'm like, oh, she absolutely didn't say that. She placed the blame squarely on men. And she said men are responsible for their own liberation. We can't do it for you. The boot's on our neck. So you are responsible for your own liberation. You're the one wearing the damn boot. So like, yeah, she taught a lot to men, but she also placed the blame squarely where it belonged.
As an educator, as a teacher, yeah, like I'm never gonna be like I'm only gonna speak to the women. Like I just think she was trying to say, here's the conundrum you find yourself in. This is hurting you as well. Like maybe you'd like to know, but the vast majority of bell hooks literature is written about men to discussing feminism, and I understand the feminist movement and how I like to describe it, and I'm gonna get this wrong, but it comes in waves, right? There's the first wave of feminism, which was like fuck men, and then like bell hooks was part of like the second or third wave where there was like actually like we've got to like help them understand like you're a victim of the patriarchy too, or you're a victim, like white men are not gonna get of, while you're thinking, hey, the patriarchy has made me feel super important, right? I always talk about, if you want to read more about how if you feel like as a white man, you have any value in society, and I'm not, unless you're a billionaire, I'm not talking to people who've consolidated extreme amounts of wealth, but I'm talking about the lie. One of my favorite books on is The Wages of Whiteness, right? And how white men were sold this, hey, yeah, we're robbing you just like black people. Don't notice that. Don't notice that you're being robbed as wealth is being concentrated at the top of the economy because you're a white man. You're kind of important. We're making you feel important, right? Like white men have more rights. We're not lynching you. That's what The Wages of Whiteness was about. It's about this hoodwinking of, hey, never notice that like actually you're being robbed just like every other poor person in this country. We're going to try to make you feel real special with the patriarchy and with white supremacy, and hopefully that will distract you. And you will fight these like race wars and misogyny wars with women and with brown and black people, and you will not pay attention to the fact you're just another poor slave being robbed with the rest of us.
I only have about 20.
Stop virtue signaling. Learn the definition of the word virtue signaling. So close, yet not close at all.
I only have like 20 more minutes and then I have to get to an appointment. Do we want to take questions?
If anyone wants to request or talk or has thoughts, feelings, comments, or concerns, someone wants to explain how I was just virtue signaling, be fascinated to hear that.
I want to make a comment real quick before anybody comes up. Beckman, you are the prime example of what Dr.
Let's request him up. He should come up.
Not too long ago. Of how men need to be told.
I'll send him an invite.
Up.
No, I requested Beckman, come on up, and you can just tell us how you feel. You definitely don't know the word, the definition of the word virtue signaling. But we can. Where are you, Beckman? Lots of words. Oh, I'm scrolling through your comments. You've been like, you got so much to say in the chat, Beckman. So many things. Where are you? We're waiting, little fella. There he is. Or they are. I actually have no idea what their gender is, so I shouldn't.
Yeah, you literally virtue signal on a daily basis anyway. Every time I've ever seen you.
Oh, so you're stalking me? Cool. Thank you. I love fans. Amazing.
You pop up on my FYP every now and then.
Yeah, but can I explain? Can I just explain to you how algorithms work? Why would you think
you don't need to. No,
that day after day I would pop up on your FYP? Do you understand how mathematical algorithms?
No,
I'll tell you, it's due to your own preferences.
You don't know the TikTok algorithm, so what are you talking about? It'll show you things.
Someone help. Okay, like. Beckman, it's okay that you think I'm pretty.
It will show you things that you like and you don't like. What are you talking
about? Just say, don't show me this anymore. You know that's an option. Can anyone help this man?
Again,
no, I will not marry you.
Oh my God, that's disgusting.
You're disgusting.
You're not attractive. I'm sorry.
We literally.
Wait, why is it disgusting? We could be a beautiful couple. Like it's so
you
rude.
Look greasy.
It's so.
You're too greasy.
It's so. That's so
greasy,
rude.
Yes.
God, hey, listen. Whilst you're projecting your own insecurities on me, I wish you well. No. I really do, and
so
I do love fans
on a daily basis.
What is virtue signaling?
So stop your white girl virtue signaling. where you try to explain something like you stand on some other moral high ground,
Oh, giving
and you don't have
definitions
anything
of
to do with it.
words.
Especially, no, that's not definition of words. It's you up here acting like you're virtue signaling for black people because you want to have some type of like you
My
think that you
father
can't
is
be
black.
racist when
That
you know
might be
that
why.
are,
My dad's
you know
black.
you're inherently racist. You're inherently racist, aren't you?
Oh dear God, are you? Yeah. In
Are
what
you
way?
inherently
I'm
racist? That's what
open.
y'all say.
Listen to me. Oh wait. Are you asking
Are
me
you
if I feel?
inherently racist?
Are
Yes or no?
you asking me if I feel you are? No. Like
No, you.
can I?
I'm
Well, let me
African
answer. Can
American.
I
I'm
answer
black.
that question and you stop being hostile and maybe listen to me and we
I
could
mean,
just.
there's no hostile. I'm not hostile at all. I'm pointing
Okay.
out the
Yes,
facts.
you
Well,
are.
You're
okay.
up here
It's
virtue
okay. I can do
signaling.
it. I can do it,
Like,
Joanna. But listen. Hey, I am not fighting you. Can I just answer the question? Yeah. Like this is the thing. And I want to be clear because I think sometimes I am not, when you hear me, it sounds like you scroll and for whatever reason, I'm not saying you're a fan of mine, but my live pops up when you're scrolling every day. And you feel like I'm saying you're something. First of all, and I'm going to answer your question in a second, but I just want to address, I am never saying, I believe your name's Beckman. If I'm getting it wrong, sorry. I'm in TikTok studio. Beckman, yeah. Okay. I'm never saying Beckman has hate in his heart. Beckman is a racist, right? And I try to make that clear. The only thing I'm ever talking about is systemic racism and policy that has been moved through the government by conservatives, right? This is statistical analysis that tells me that legislation that has been brought by conservatives is disproportionately discriminating against minority groups, women.
such as, such
Well, I
as
was
what?
gonna, yeah, the women, the LGBTQIA, and black people, brown people in this country. That's all. It's never. I'm just trying to clarify. It's not that I'm saying to you, Beckman, who I'm just meeting now. Oh, that Beckman, he's got hate in his heart. I don't know. I'm talking about the systemic racism inside this country that can be tracked through large data sets mathematically. So, and
Show
then
me,
how
show
we,
me a bit of systemic
well,
racism
I mean,
right
keep
now.
watching. Listen, I'll give you some
You
examples,
said
but wait, I don't
you're
want to,
you're
let me just
claiming it.
finish.
You
Hey,
could have something on the top of your head. Let's hear it.
okay. Can I just?
Show me a
I'm
systemic
not going to get.
policy.
I'm not going to get off the line of logic right now. I just need to. And then you
Asking
said,
you for a
"Wait, can I?"
systemic racist policy is
Oh
all the
God,
logic.
dear Jesus, Lord, take the wheel, Lord God.
I'm
Okay,
asking you
Beckman,
for
I'm
one.
trying so hard with you. I am just being so kind. Just listen to me. And we are not in a fight. I'm not your enemy. Just listen for comprehension, and then whatever. If you want to
Okay,
talk
I am
about, okay,
comprehending
how?
that I
Let me give
asked
you an
you for
example.
one
Let me give you. Okay,
systemic
I'll give.
racist
Yes.
policy.
Okay. Can I give you one? Okay. Here's my one.
Been
Did
asking,
you
yes.
know that once it's dark outside, black people are statistically less likely to be pulled over?
Show me the policy to that. See how ignorant you are? Unbelievable. Show me the
No, okay,
policy.
again, this is
No.
statistical
Wait a minute.
analysis.
You just gave me a statistical analysis, which is not a policy. And who
Is
did
this
that statistical analysis? Show me the policy
government
in the
data
government.
sets? It's
Wait.
government
Show
data
me the
sets.
policy
Can
in
I
the
answer,
government that
Beckman?
they
Can I
did
answer
that.
your question? Can you calm? I'm
Embarrassing that you
worried.
would say that.
I'm worried about your
You
health.
say
You need to take some deep
unbelievable.
breaths. Just
Jesus.
can you calm down, please?
Unbelievable.
You're getting
The
hysterical.
first thing you say, that's no policy.
Oh wait, hold on. Jennifer, thank you for
Unbelievable.
the $5. She said Beckman is lying, even if
Yeah.
no,
Show
as
me
a
the policy.
51-year-old straight married woman that
Please.
you are hot AF. You can barely get bent and probably enjoys
Please
that.
show me the policy. I know your friends need to back you up.
No,
Show me the
I
policy
did not. I
where-
read that in real time. I had not read that. Jennifer, you're so
Show me
funny.
the policy where black people are getting pulled over more.
Yeah, can I-
because of this policy.
Can I
Please
just
don't
answer?
do that.
Can I please answer your question and you listen? So again,
Yeah, I'm
when
waiting
we
on the
talk about
policy.
hold on. When we talk about systemic racism, you're talking about something different, but systemic racism.
No, I'm not. You said in
Okay.
the government there's a
You have to
specific
let me
systemic
talk. I
racist
can't
policy.
talk. You have to let me say something. Do you
You know
understand?
You're wrong. That's fine.
I'm
called
not
you out. You're
wrong.
bad about it.
Listen.
You're out.
Okay, let's do this. There's 426 people in here. Put a 1 in the chat if you
What's the
believe that
government
I'm
policy?
wrong. If Beckman is wrong, put a 2 in the
Oh, yeah,
chat.
you're
It's called crowdsourcing information.
What
No,
a fair
I'm
play.
right. I'm right.
Show
but-
me the policy.
Okay, again, can you listen to me and receive information? I was just
long as you know
speaking
what
about
you're
this.
trying-
When the reason I brought up that black people are statistically less likely to be pulled over at night, which we know through statistical analysis, but the reason I brought that up, right, is because I was talking about systemic systems of racism and how they've been introduced in society. Like, I could give you ways systemic racism happens in the military, or how it happens in school systems with
Oh my
black children's
God.
hair.
How
But hold on,
embarrassing.
all of this is
Show me the
shaped around.
policy.
Okay, you're not
There's
listening.
not one. That's why you brought up something.
So,
You said
okay.
there was governmental policy, and the first thing
Here.
you brought up was black people getting
Can I
pulled
ask?
over more
No,
at
I
night.
did. Okay, I never said those
Gracious.
things. And
You literally said
okay,
statistically.
so
black
here
people
I'm
get
gonna
pulled
pull
over
up.
more at
Here,
night,
I'll give you
correct?
policies. So
Show me the policy
yeah,
that
I will.
forces that.
No, again, that's not
Please
what
show
I
me the
said.
policy that
Hey,
forces-
okay, can someone mute him?
Yeah, mute
So
is an
embarrassing.
Yeah,
You're
'cause I need to just be very clear about something. He's conflating two different things, right? If we want to talk about systemic racism that has been acted through conservative policies, let me pull some up. I have a
You
whole,
said
I have a
policy.
whole file. Yeah, that's what we're doing. But again, I'm pivoting for you. I was talking about something different. I'm
Don't
talking
pivot.
about institutional systemic
you weren't.
racism and how systems interact in the United States.
Don't.
And we know that
Show me the
through
policy.
impact studies and statistical analysis. But because you're not on the same line of logic, I just want to be clear about what's happening. You don't understand what we're talking about. So now I am going to switch and I'm going to find examples of policy that has moved through Congress, conservative policy, that has then resulted in systemic racism. Is that what you are asking
Okay.
to hear about?
Well, no. Let me
Okay.
clarify. Let me
No.
clarify.
Oh,
You
so now
said
he's not up.
statistically-
God, those goalposts. Pick him up. Drag him somewhere else because I'm
No,
pulling up
please.
the file.
You're the one moving the goalposts because you got called
No.
out. You said, that
Dear God,
statistically,
what is
black
wrong with
people-
men?
let me
Are you okay?
Let me finish. Can I finish? You said statistically, black people get pulled over more at night. And you said that after you said systemic racism exists in conservative policy.
That's
And
the
I asked
opposite of
you,
what she
what-
said.
I never said that.
shows that.
Oh, listen, I don't know what, listen, I can't help you. I never said what you're saying I said. And
Literally
this,
said that. It's embarrassing
let-
yourself.
so okay,
How low level it is.
somebody up here is embarrassing themselves. There's three
How low
women
level.
and one man, and one person is embarrassing themselves, and everyone can decide who it is. If it's the man up here, just put a 1 in the chat. We can all decide who is embarrassing themselves.
This panel because you're getting dog walked because you don't know the policy. that
Imagine
you try
never
to say was
saying,
there.
imagine never delivering
Unbelievable.
a data set, a
Unbelievable.
fact,
Get it
saying
out, come on,
anything.
get it
Oh, that's a lot of ones. It's getting weird.
So I don't even think that like
What
this
do you
man
think
can't
you're-
even define inherently, right? He's like,
That's
oh,
correct.
you're inherently racist. Humans themselves, right? What does inherently mean? This man doesn't know what inherently means, guys. Promise you. But inherently means that it is something that is baked into the system. It means that it is something that is fundamental in the system's design, structure, or nature. Fundamental
where?
in the system's design, structure,
Show me
or
where.
nature.
Did
If something
show
is fundamental,
Show me
right,
where.
in that, then it is inherently racist. Human beings
virtue.
are not inherently racist. So anyone that says like, oh, you're inherently racist as a human being, that person doesn't know what they're talking about because humans are not born that way, right? Humans are socialized that way. Humans are socialized in it now. There is argument from sociological research that says that it can be so present in society. So as to someone starts to move forward and act upon, right? That is now their framework, their worldview through which they view things. That occurs in the United States. So in the United States, we have such a history of racism and so many of our systems are built on racism. And people as dumb as this guy think that because the civil rights movement happened in the 1950s.
What's your highest level of it?
Boom, all of a sudden.
He's a doctor, dummy. Be quiet when doctors are speaking. You have
No,
not.
she's not.
she is a doctor who's
Guaranteed
does
it's
government
not
research,
doctor.
and you are listen, far and away, if you are the dumbest person up here. We have an NBA. I'm the second dumbest person up here. That's what you need to
I have
know.
a master's, thank you.
You don't have anything. Nobody with a master speaks like you. I would literally bet my life, my most prized possession. You have a master's in what? Idiocy? Like, please.
Are you mad I called you out?
No one's mad at you. We're embarrassed for you, sir. We're all sitting here embarrassed for you. We're all embarrassed for you.
I can easily come up with several. I'm just going to speak over him since that's what he does. Everybody else, I can
Please,
like
find
redlining, right? Redlining is a really good
You
example of an
begin, dude.
inherently racist thing that we did in the United States. Now, redlining
Sure.
became illegal later on, right? Redlining became illegal much later on, but
Right. You're bringing-
these explicit policies,
That's not what you
although
talk
they
about.
ended decades ago,
Yes, it is.
there are ongoing residential
Where's your
segregation
policy,
patterns.
host?
So even though these
Where's your policy?
policies, these official policies,
Pull
ended
it up.
decades ago, that did not end.
These are all policies. Okay, let's talk. Do you understand Reconstruction? Do you know what the Georgia Bureau of do you understand what a citizen's arrest is? These are policies that were enacted. Wait, listen. You want to learn something? I can't listen to him speak anymore. He's so dumb. No, I know he doesn't. But
You're
I just
just
want to
wrong.
explain. Let me give you an example of policy, right? Do you understand the words everyone?
Jeez.
Yeah, I would be done with me too if I was as uninformed as you.
You are.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm just gonna say this so I can speak in a long form thought without him listening. Here's one that comes to mind, which I'm a former teacher, so I'm very passionate. Like, the entire public school system is systemic racism, right? I mean, that's what it is. It comes out of the Reconstruction period and trying to stop the black vote. Like, it's trying to stop literacy from happening. The entire public school system, how it is paid off income or off property taxes, is literal systemic racism. But the one I was going to bring up that pisses me off because dumbass conservatives are always like, I don't know what I'm talking about, is 2A, right? The Second Amendment. What is that? The Second Amendment was policy enacted for what? So that white people in the South could shoot their slaves and drag them back. That's what the Second Amendment was built around. Organized militias were to drag their black slaves back and torment them. That's what 2A was built around. Same, and this was also built, if you don't know about the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, which is like Georgia's GBI, look into how racist every institution past Reconstruction ever been built in Georgia was, right? A citizen's arrest, when you hear those words now in modern society and you're like, what's that? That's how they would lynch people, right? They passed federal and state laws that said large groups of white people could do a quote unquote citizen's arrest. They just said some brown or black people were doing something wrong and they could lynch them under the guise of a citizen's arrest. I could give thousands more examples. I'm very passionate about systemic racism. I can't do it when a tiny D weirdo is having a fucking meltdown while I'm trying to speak. But if you don't know how systemic racism is prevalent in our society and how conservative policy has shaped that is when you say you're a conservative, that's what you're saying. You're saying, I dig my heels in. Right? That's the conservative interpretation of the Constitution. Now I'm talking about legality is what? It's original interpretation. It's about saying this text is meant to be interpreted as it was written in 1770, whatever, which is what? White male white Anglo-Saxon, Protestant, straight, white male landowners held all the power. Women were chattel. If you are a conservative, that is the literal act of digging your heels in and saying, I want to stop progress. I do not want equity. I do not want equality. I do not want things to change. And conservative policy is quite literally shaped around denying equity and equality, because these are two very different things that I'm watching mediocre, small d white men struggle with, is denying that to them. And you being a dumbass who talks really loud when women who know way more than you are trying to speak, it doesn't make you smart. It just makes you a small d idiot. Sorry, but I digress.
I would love for somebody like in the beginning, right? Oh, you're inherently racist. I do not believe people like someone's using the word inherently wrong, right? Because that means that people are born that way.
Thanks,
And people are
Beckman.
born-
In case any women actually had faith in men for 5 seconds, just know that's who they are, ladies. That's who they are.
Yep. I probably have time for one more question.
Does anyone have a normal question for an actual doctor, not an insecure white man with a small d who screams every time someone knows more than him speaks?
Well, you know
Deb-
what? Really, as we're gonna have.
Oh wait, there are people. Sorry, I don't know how to check the. Hold on, there are people request. I didn't even realize.
We'll try to rapid fire as many as we can.
Yeah, we will. I am so sorry. I don't have guests on my life. Hey, I just figured. Okay, there's people requesting. I got it now.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey.
Hi, Dr. Dani. I just want to say thank you for the video on stochastic terrorism. That was a great video.
Oh, thank you. It's always the videos that are almost not made.
That. Second of all, Felice Beckman, I want to apologize for every man that has bigger than a 1-inch penis. I want to apologize for that, dude. And he did the exact same thing that you talk about every day. He won't listen to a woman that's smarter than him. I can't understand it. I never want to understand it. I don't want to be like that guy.
The best.
Dr. Dani, I was a bar manager in a college town, and I met this girl. This was in the 90s, late 90s, almost 2000. And I was kind of worried she was going to graduate and go away because I usually, dated, 21-year-olds and then they would graduate but I was, kind of concerned. My one friend, and then backed up by other friends, said, if you're worried, just plant the seed. And I was like, excuse me? They said, plant the seed, get her pregnant so she doesn't leave. Like, this is seriously so I'm a Gen Xer, so that's that generation. I have told all my nieces, I said, never date down in your life. I said, I don't care if you like this dude. If he worships you, he will do something to you that will keep you where he is. So what would you
listen? I don't know if this is anecdotal, but I'll just say how men are always like women are trying to trap me into having a baby with a. No, I definitely can attest to the other way around. The amount of men that try to trap me into a relationship through the.
Exactly.
I've experienced this.
As soon as they outkick their coverage, they're like, well, I got to make sure I keep her around somehow. So, Dr. Dani, what would you how would you diagnose that kind of thinking? I was just like, you're out of your fucking mind when we're no longer friends, but.
So first of all, that's reproductive coercion, right? It's a violation of consent. So reproductive coercion is a way that people, I'll say, because this is something that anyone can do. It is anyone of any gender. It is a way that people will remove consent, right? Because I'm getting you pregnant without your consent. I'm removing birth control without your consent. So it is a form of abuse and it's reproductive coercion. But that's all back to that dominance narrative, right? Because if you get her pregnant, you can own her in a way. You now have access to that woman for at least the next 18 years, whether she wants you to or not. You can keep bringing her back into court. You can keep your thumb on her. You can keep eyes on who she's dating. What is she doing? She can't just get rid of you, right? If you end a bad relationship and you just cannot get rid of this freaking guy, you can block him on all your social media. Maybe if things get extreme, you can change your phone number. You can move. If you're in college, right, and you have a bad relationship, you can be like, you know what? I'm in college. I'm going back home, or I'm moving out of this college town. I'm not going to be around this guy forever. But if he gets you pregnant, he has you under his thumb for at least the next 18 years. So it's a control tactic. It's another way to try to keep women under control.
And this is similar to like the cases we were talking about in Texas where not even husbands, but fiancés or whatever, boyfriends are breaking into their girlfriends' houses who are at the hospital getting care for a miscarriage, going through their trash can saying, oh, I think she might have been trying to have an AB with my baby, right? And found like mifepristone pills. This is a literal case going on in Texas, right? And one of the ways like an abuser can maintain control of a woman is absolutely through procreation, is absolutely through she's pregnant with my child, now I own her. This is one of the landmark cases that is right now happening.
Well, just a reminder that Texas, specifically Texas Republicans, put out a very specific marketing campaign. They have billboards all over Texas telling men, do you think that your partner had an abortion? Call this hotline. Call this law office, right? So
in class action lawsuits for men who feel like they might have impregnated someone and feel disenfranchised.
So this is an actual tactic currently being used in Texas, is to recruit men who think that their partner may have had one, and to say like, hey, not only can we sue, but you can join this class action lawsuit and you might get $10,000 out of it. It's crazy.
Don't have sex with anyone.
I feel dirty after you say shit like that. I mean, it just makes me, I just don't understand that line of thinking. I don't know why. Because
you're a decent man with self-confidence.
It's just like I was the guy in the chat that said, "Stop crying, or I'll give you something to cry about." Because that's like I cried during Bambi after the mother got.
That's a horrible movie.
Yeah,
Bambi is a murderous, horrible terror show.
Bambi's mother got. It's just like it's one of the. But I just don't understand the men that are like that need to be like what you were saying, Felice. It's a partnership. It's team. It's team this. It's team that. Every time I had a relationship, I would say, yeah, we're a team now. You know.
Amen. With you, and it's nice to meet you and see you. It's nice. You're great, Javs. Keep on keeping on.
Yeah, I've been a big fan. Like, we used to be on lives together, like, way back in the day when we were just talking, like, with Nemo and stuff like that. And I've watched you the whole time growing up, and I think you're excelling.
I am.
I enjoy it.
Arrested Development. You're watching me grow up. I might be an adult, still a child.
Yeah, but for the last 4 years, you just, like, we would just hang out on panels, like 6-9 of us.
Okay, I gotta let Dani answer a question. I love you too. I love you. Mean it. Sorry. Okay. Hey, CJ.
What's good? How you doing?
Good.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, all of y'all. How are y'all doing?
So well.
How are you?
I'm pretty cool. I just wanted to say, like, yes, the patriarchy is hurting all of us. You know what I mean? And I don't know. Damn, I had thoughts before.
I know you were waiting so long, and I'm so sorry, and I so appreciate you. Like,
no, it's all good.
I get it, but I agree, and I think that's the message of feminism, right? It has nothing to do with just women. It's just like, hey, like, we're all getting a bad rap in a society. Like, that's what intersectionality is about, right? It's about, hey, women have it bad, but so do black men, right? It's about where do we all fall in this hierarchy and the redistribution of wealth, and we're all just slaves. So, like,
all men are getting hurt by the patriarchy. That's what I
damaged irreparably.
Realize, you know what I mean? And like what I think that people or men especially don't understand is that they're not, I don't know, there's a lot of people talking like they're saying they're feminists, but they're actually just hating men. Does that make sense? And I think a lot of people come across them and just like
Look, I'm going to say this, CJ. Like, women, 1 in 3 women, we could debate if it's 1 in 4, or I've heard some people say 1 in 5, or 1 in 3 women are essayed in this country. Like, what we don't know is who is safe as women. And if you are a good man who is trying, doing the right things and loves and cares about women and values them as equals, nobody's talking to you. You know what I mean? That's what you need to know. If you feel like you're
fly, let it fly.
Yeah, let it fly. No one's talking to you. But the problem is you're sitting amongst a group of men. Like, men are responsible for all the violence in this world, right? It's particularly against women. Like, we're not out here beating the shit out of each other. Like, so we're just not sure who's safe. But if you're not one of these people that we need to be worried about, then we're just not talking to you, and you're just an ally or a accomplice, and we just need your help to educate other men. There's a saying in Go Get Your People, like, hey, if biracial women I need to explain something, I'll go find them and explain it. Like, if you can help us talk to other men and say, hey, like, this is what this is about, we need to treat women better, that we'd appreciate it.
Of course, that's what I mean, though. I think a lot of people just take men as a
monolith, and you're not. I'm with you. I mean? And neither are women. Absolutely, and you're not all the monolith, and nobody is saying that. But just understand, when all of the essay and all the violence is coming at us from men, we're just not sure. So be loud and proud, be an accomplice, be an ally. Say, like, hey, I don't stand for this shit. That's what we need. We need help, right? Like, we're in danger. We're the prey gender of this species, and we're scared. That's what you're experiencing.
Well,
no. Sorry, CJ. I got to move through. Sorry. Or did you want to say something to him while he's still listening?
I'll say something quickly about it. I made a video about this the other day, particularly because when I was talking about like racism and things like that, and someone said, just stop labeling and stop being so divisive. So on that same idea, right? So first of all, a lot of times when women are making videos and stuff like that, and they're saying men, insert patriarchy there. Right? Instead of hearing men, I want you to mentally insert patriarchy and see if it still makes sense. Because that's usually what women are talking about. They're using men as a placeholder to talk about a system and a framework through which we are all living, right? They're not talking about you, the individual man, right? They're talking about a system and a framework. And the other thing, when someone brought this up to me, the division and the labeling and stuff, we are not creating the division and the labeling. The misogyny is, the racism is. So then the calling out of that, people get offended by that. You cannot be more offended by people calling out the oppression than you are by the oppression. So when women are sitting there and they're saying like, men do this and this is awful and this, get mad about the oppression, right? Like, lean into that with curiosity and say, wow, for this woman to say this online, what must she be experiencing? What must women everywhere be experiencing? That's incredible, right? And lean into understanding that really hard oppressive experience. It goes the same way with race. It can go the same way with homophobia, right? We cannot be more upset about the people talking about the harm done by oppression than we are about the oppression. So we have to be really careful about where we're placing our anger.
Thank you. And that's when I was trying to say that the Beckman guy, like, I'm not saying you, I don't know you. I don't know if there's hate in I don't know if you're a racist. I'm talking about the systemic system of white supremacy that has been established in Western civilization. And it is the same thing with patriarchy. It's not you, CJ, we think something's wrong with you. It's just, this is the system that women are facing and being irreparably harmed to the point of loss of life in many cases. That's all. Hi. Question, Pepper, 2008. Sorry. Pepper, are you there? Okay, sorry. I thought, we have another guest.
One more.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Here we go. Joyful Priestess. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, good.
Hey guys, I'm curious. I've been listening for a while, and I've been also following everything going on with the new ideas coming out about groypers, and I personally hadn't even heard of that before, and so I've been learning a lot. And I'm just curious what you ladies think we could do to help teach people around us in our circles, in our communities.
Particularly about groypers, or like are we talking about like men and boys?
Feminism, everything that we've been talking about today, and then for people who might be influenced by red pilling and manosphere podcast and rhetoric, what are things that we could do?
If it was your son or your brother,
our son, our brother, our nephew, right? Yeah, anyone in our community.
So one thing I will say, and this is like not, I know that this isn't warm and fuzzy for people to think about. You need to talk to your boys younger than you think you do. I'm talking 10 years old, 11 years old. Because often parents are like, oh, I started talking to them when they were 15. They've already been on the manosphere forums. I promise you, I guarantee you. We also have studies that show that when boys create a social media account, whether that's TikTok or Instagram, it takes less than 30 minutes for them to be pushed, not just manosphere content, extreme misogynistic content. Right. It takes less than 30 minutes of boys creating an account. It doesn't matter what they put down their, like, you know how you create a TikTok account and it says, do you want to learn about cooking, sports, news? It doesn't matter what that boy chooses. It doesn't matter what age range he puts himself in. He can just scroll ESPN for 10 minutes. And then if he goes over to his For You page, it will take less than 30 minutes before a young boy is pushed to extreme misogynistic content. And they start viewing it around like 9, 10 years old. So I need people to start talking to their kids really young and really early. And when we're talking about kids, remember, kids are trying to figure it out. They're learning how to be a human. So they're hearing this content online. If you come at them with shame and blame, guess what you're doing? Pushing them further down that rabbit hole. Because that's what the manosphere is telling them. The manosphere tells them they're going to say you're the problem. They're going to say that men are the problem and that men are evil and all. So if you have a boy or a man, and again, everybody be aware of their emotional energy, be aware of what's happening in your body. If you like take a second with your body and you're like, I am not regulated. I am not in a good place to have this conversation. Dip out, right? Don't have that conversation. If it's a young boy, if it's your son or your nephew, you're obligated to have that conversation a little bit. If they're grown men in your life, we are not obligated to use our time and energy to teach grown men. That being said, we do have grown men in our lives that are going through this, right? So somebody has to do it. So if you have the capacity, if you have the knowledge, do it. So once you've determined whether or not you have the capacity, explore this with curiosity. It is so hard. I promise you it's so hard because you're going to hear things that you don't want to hear. But if you hear a man or a boy in your life saying like, oh yeah, well, 80% of women only go after the top 20% of men, be like, huh? Where'd you hear that from? Oh, well, and figure out where they heard it from. What are they listening to? Whose podcasts are they listening to? Who's coming up on their For You page, right? What are they looking at on YouTube? Gaming. Y'all, your kid is not just gaming. They are on the forums. They are on Discord. They're on the chats. They're closing out of it when you're walking in the room. They're seeing these things. I promise you they're not just gaming. I promise you. So talk to them about that. Right? Like if you find stuff that they viewed online, like I found out that a 12-year-old in my life had gotten a video of the Charlie Kirk video on his phone. And it was like, who sent you that? Well, what did you think when you saw that? What came up for you how did that make you feel? Right? And so same thing when they're listening to this misogynist content. Well, like, how did that make you feel? Does that sound true to you? And then also these boys and men have women in their lives. Right? So I had a young boy who was 19 in my life say like, well, women just want you for your money. And I'm like, where did you hear that? Blah, blah, blah. Where's that coming from? Well, do you know any women in your life like that? Am I like that? No, I'm not like that, right? Like I have a doctorate degree, I own my own business, right? Okay, what about your aunties? Are they like that? Nope, can't come up with any of your aunties that are like that either. They all have a job and they have equitable relationships and they work. Is your sister like that? Your sister's not like, what women does this apply to in your life, right? Like what women? And like really get them to question that, because the manosphere thrives off of giving them these snippets that they're hoping they will not critically think about. They're hoping they're just going to be spoon-fed this and lap it up, right? But we all know when you hear like, 80% of men are going after 20% of women. If that's true, I better not walk downtown and see women with a chubby guy. I better not walk downtown and see women with a guy that's 5'7" wearing glasses, right? So you can easily fact check this, right? Like, they're only going after the top 20. Okay. Well, is your dad like that? It's not going to work if his dad's over 6 feet tall and is like, making 200,000. That's not going to work. But then you can say, like, we go out for a coffee. Like, look around you. You see other men with women, right? Like, do you think they're in the top 20%? So you can get them to see, like, this does not apply to the real world. It doesn't apply to your life. It doesn't apply to what we see when we go out and, like, get brunch on Sunday. Right? So you really have to be able to lean in and explore with curiosity and not with shame.
Right.
Shame will shut them down and send them deeper into the manosphere.
Amen.
Yeah.
Curiosity, right? Like, and especially if you're talking about your children or people, like young boys you care about in any way or trying to mentor. Like, that's, as a former teacher, it's just like, just ask questions. Like, how do you feel? Why do you think you feel this way? Like, I could, like, just ask and they'll tell you.
Yeah, and I think like also it's really good to communicate that way back to them as well. Just talk about how things make you feel. Like you feel unsafe when you hear this sort of rhetoric. Like this sort of rhetoric makes you feel unsafe. And just, I think it's important to let them know that as well.
Yeah, and the thing is that like people will be like, I tell my husband this, I tell my boyfriend this, I tell my kid this, and they don't care. These are men that are supposed to care about you. Right? So if my partner's deep in the manosphere, right? And I say like, hey, you saying these things hurts me. It upsets me and it's pushing us further apart. If they don't care, then they're more committed to the manosphere and its rhetoric than they are to you and the relationship. It's painful, but that is information for you. That is data for you to make a different decision.
And also, just as someone who has I've had a lot of relationships with conservative men or had experience, and my father is a Trump voter, like most of my family, so I would just say this, also just stick to how it's making you feel. Like, hey, when you are talking about this, when you are saying these things, it makes me feel less than. I feel like I'm not even a human. Like, I don't matter to you, right? Like, stick to how you feel, not like throwing accusations of this is fucked up. You know what I mean? Like, just say like, this is how I feel when you are doing and saying these things, right? And if that does not if being like, hey, you're making me feel like I'm not a human, like I'm not holding as much value as you, and they're like, cool, then that's it might be time to exit stage left. But I think in my experience with men, like ones that have empathy or not malignant narcissists, you say, hey, like when you do this or when you say this is what I am experiencing inside my body, which, I've been diagnosed with PTSD. Like, I'm like, you are literally making me feel like I'm going to have to fight for my life, like, and if you explain that to them, like, it's hurting me physically inside and they still don't have a reaction to that, then you have to run.
I agree 100%. Thanks so much. I appreciate it.
I gotta get going to my appointment.
God, doctors are so busy. I'm once I make enough money, and I can afford you. I can't wait.
We'll do this again, chat. Felice will let you know when we're gonna do this again.
Follow Dr. Dani. We can do it next week if you want.
We're getting a little bit silenced after that. that stochastic terrorism video. But that's okay.
I like that.
So if anyone has any other questions, Felice and I will definitely do this again. We usually talk about like women's reproductive health and stuff like that. We didn't get to touch on it today, so maybe we'll do it next week.
Yeah, let's do it next week. Let's plan on it. I'm into it. Definitely follow Dr. Dani. And then if people go to your appointment, we'll see you next week. Text me later, Gator. Love you.
I will.
And then
Bye.
if people have more questions or something, like I can hang around for a bit if we want to have like more conversations or questions. I don't have to leave right away. I don't think Joanna does. So if people want to continue a conversation, I'm open to it for a few minutes. Love Dr. Dani though. I know we haven't seen her in a while. She's the best. But by the way, Debbie, thank you for the $50. Why are men so emotional? You're a queen for tolerating him. That was I would really like to get to a place. I think when I first started online, like Jaffs was saying, I used to like know you when you spoke with Nemo. I used to have a lot more tolerance. I think as the onset of fascism and the cementing of the American oligarchy is happening, I'm losing patience. But like, I'm never trying to attack men. It's just like if you're not coming from a place of fact, if you're just trying to bully me into submission, if you're just yelling at me, if you're not following a line of logic, but if you're saying something that means something, like I fully want to hear it. I do have a heart. It's just the internet will make you hide it really quick because like, oh yeah, and all of our patients. That's what I was going to say. I could be like, I'm going through a nervous breakdown, like we all are. So yeah, everyone knows exactly what I'm talking about. We're running out of patience.
I have an ice box where my heart used to be at this point. Shout out to Omarion.
Joanna's dead
you
inside.
have way more patience than me. Very much dead and full of rage.
Logan, Logan. Can you hear? Is there an echo?
Yes.
Is he there? Are you muting him? Okay, thank you. But is he, Logan? Are you here? Sorry, I was just I'm just trying to see if you had a question. Can we unmute, or is he gone? I can't. For some reason, the second box I can't see. Okay, is he? He's not. Is he muted or not? I literally can't see.
Yeah, I muted him. Logan, if you swipe out and then swipe back in, and then unmute, hopefully that'll get rid of the echo. I only muted you because
just
you
like
had
just move away from the app and come back. There was an echo. I can't even see his box. Well, unmute him and see I just want to see if he's even there. I never heard. Did he say words?
No. Oh, he said he didn't mean to request.
Okay,
all right,
cool.
Logan, I'll drop you, darling.
Yeah, because that's what I figured. I was like, I never even heard him say something. HC Callie. If you want to request questions, comments, if you want to debate, whatever, like, we're open to it. It's a good conversation.
Thank you for having me up. I just had something that I wanted to add because I thought it was a really excellent point about parents talking to their sons. I mean, I feel like my greatest life achievement is being single and no kids at 47.
Preach. Well on my way. Meet you there soon.
Welcome. But for those with daughters, I feel like just like it's important to point out to sons, like, look around you. Do you really think 80% are looking at the 20%? I think that's probably an equally valuable conversation to have with daughters as well, because as we know, like, young girls go through a lot in terms of self-esteem and everything. And I think that's kind of a crucial age for girls to hear, like, you are not, no matter how you feel about yourself, you are not competing in that sort of heat, you know? Like,
we're not going to die in junior high like I was convinced. No, trust me. And by the way, yeah, like, if we are trying to focus on men, it's just because I think we had men in the chat who are saying things. Like, growing up as a young girl in America is a constant crisis. At least it was for me. I mean, it was like a day-to-day, literal, like, am I going to make it today? So, yeah, I mean, you need to constantly check on young girls and women and, like, talk to them about the pressures. I was just reading a study on what, if you're, like, between the ages of, like, I think 10 to 14, what Instagram does to girls. Like, I mean, check in,
Ugh.
talk, hug. Like, I mean, if you have empathy, I just grew up in a household where empathy was not non-existent. Like, so I'm just like, I just have really a lot of faith in just, there's so many mothers and fathers who are like, oh, I'm failing. Hey, if you are a person that a child can come and talk to and they know this is a safe space, and when I have a problem, my parent is going to meet me without judgment and love and solve that problem with me. I'm telling you, there's nothing, this is just as a teacher, because I do problem solve with students all the time. There's nothing you can't do if you meet your children without judgment, listen, and problem solve. Like, that's, and I just, as someone, I lacked that. I never had that, but like, it's like, never underestimate just meeting them without judgment and be like, whatever it is, tell me, and we're gonna figure it out.
Yeah, and we're already like, I feel like women are already just forced to settle just by virtue of what's on the shelf. So why add the pressure of like, hey, 80% of your gender are clawing for 20% of what's on the shelf, you know, and that's just not the reality. And I think that that instruction of look around you on the street, do you really think this is the top 20%? I mean, maybe it's not that far off, but do you really think this is the top 20%? Like, does that make sense? Think about this, you know, for the daughters as well. But that was all I wanted to say. I really enjoy your content, and I'm moving to Europe 2 weeks from today, but I subscribe to make sure that I can still listen from
God,
there.
I'm
So
fucking jealous. You just live for us all. Live footloose and fancy free with privacy guidelines on the internet. Just live free for us all.
my
Do you-
6-figure job
I feel like
got eliminated in
crying. I'm
March,
so
2
jealous.
days after tariffs were announced, and I was like, well, I'm gonna create my own job and get the fuck out of here.
Hey,
So
fly free, little bird. Say hello in the comments after you leave. I can't follow people from here, but I'll follow you. See you around.
all right, thank you.
Seabass, what's up?
Hello. How are y'all?
Always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure. I know. The pleasure is always mine, Felice. And Joanna, of course. I did want to say, too, it's like the all men until it's no men conversation. It's very important for men to do the work to unpack, deconstruct the patriarchy, and to believe women first and foremost. We're never going to like excel or exceed in any way if we're not having the conversation and then listening to one side, you know? And I just implore that any man that's in this live still to do the work. It's worth it. I can guarantee you.
And I'm tomorrow just on the People's Receipts. We're going to go through. Kash Patel is under oath in the Senate Judiciary Committee, just fucking lying up a storm to cover up the Epstein files. Like, I've never seen anything like it, as well as what he may or may not be on. I don't know what's happening with him, but I'm just saying, like, I mean, if we can't even something we know for sure, we can't even believe children in this country. We can't believe women. We devalue children. Like, it is, I mean, absolutely, like, I just see it as a partnership always. Like, I always see myself as a teammate. It doesn't matter if it's a teammate of 2 or 5, but I always just want to be a teammate. And I think women and men need to start recognizing, like, we are fighting against extreme amount of wealth and power at the top of the economy, and like, we're all on the same team. It's just, we have to start recognizing that way, putting down our defenses, right? Stop with, what do you mean, all men? Like, just,
Yeah.
if it's not you, great, gold star, we're not talking about you.
Yeah, and part of that conversation as well isn't necessarily just about you personally doing the atrocities, but it's also not conversing in that locker room talk and shutting it down when it's happening in the moment between your friend group and stuff. You know, if they're not willing to listen, these people are not your friends.
Yeah, and that's like, go get your people. Like, if I'm in a group of my people who are saying things that I'm like, hey, no, like, absolutely not. Or as a multiracial woman, I sat in groups of white people when I was at university in Idaho, where they would start having unbelievably racist conversations, and I'd be like, surprise, my dad's
Surprise,
black.
yeah. Exactly.
I hate everyone in here, and now I'm going to make your life hell for the next 4 years. Like whatever. I mean, it's the little microcosms, right? Like as a history major, there's macro history, these large ideas that happen, and then there's like micro history of how we can move things in microcosms, and that's like the most fascinating history, right? And yeah, silence, whoever said that, yeah, just why silence is complicity, right? And these moments, like when we sit here now and watch what, like the onset of fascism in this country, and the people that are too dumb to understand the definition of fascism, but think we're just insulting them while they're being robbed and everything is taken from them. Like, it's those little moments, however you can resist, right? Every day, there's a million little tiny opportunities to resist in different ways. And that's, right, mini wins. As an athlete, I always used to say, like, stop trying to you may never make this huge difference, but in different moments in your life, in different conversations, in different places, you can have these mini wins every single day. And those are what I strive for. And eventually, that will add up to something.
Exactly. It's like building a mountain out of the little pieces, and also for everybody that's gifting me, please Miss Andrea, and gift Felice and Joanna. I'm not here for gifts. These two are amazing women. And
white men are so great when they just get with the program. No, I know. It's the fascinating. Everyone's like, a white man,
I think that's super
like
important too, though, because we all have areas in our lives where we have some droplet of privilege. Like, yes, I'm black. Yes, I'm a woman, but I am a cishet woman, right? So there are black trans women and black trans men that I can speak up for in spaces, because I don't know if y'all know.
Because intersectionality, I know, could not agree more. Like, that's what intersectionality, by the way, is. Like, if you're like, what is that concept? It's understanding that, like, or this is how I describe it. Kimberly Crenshaw, amazing black professor at UCLA, coined like intersectionality in the concept. But this is how it makes the most sense to me. Like, the power in Western civilization, the seat of power is white, straight, Anglo-Saxon, Protestant, landowning males. And every degree you are off from that, you are losing a degree of power or of relevance in society. So who would be able-bodied too? I should have said able-bodied, white, straight, so if you're disabled, if you're black, if you're trans, you are just adding a degree. You are removed from the seat of relevance or power and your ability to have upward mobility in Western civilization. And that's how you have to. Then Joanna made a beautiful point. She's saying, hey, I might be a black woman with a lot of melanin, but there are certain situations in intersectionality where I need to speak up for others.
100%. Yeah. I mean, and I love the analogy that you do of breaking it down as far as degree separated from, right? Because it's very, very much how the patriarchy was built, right? And this is the part of what you talk about frequently on the lives about systemic, issues. And it's not just racism, it's the patriarchy, it's just everything, the lack of upward mobility. And we can do things in the moment to... Sorry.
That again?
Do things in the moment.
Your brilliance is priceless.
Oh, me?
Felice has the most beautiful brain.
Your brilliance
is priceless.
Is priceless.
Thank you so much. That's so sweet. Thank you. That's kind. I'm learning in therapy twice a week how to accept compliments. If I seem awkward, it's something I'm working on. I need to have as good a view of myself as if only I could treat myself like you treat me, Julian. Thank you. Sorry. This is a problem I have. Like, people compliment me, and I'm like, I hate myself.
Yeah, don't tell me that.
I mean, speaking of compliments, Mr. Fishbastion, we've had like 87 comments at this point in the chat asking if you're single. Like, do we need to set up a date?
What is the deal with that?
I am single. But yeah.
So that means.
Well, I mean, the
yeah, I like the comments.
I didn't even know that. Seabass is the best. Who are someone's
Breaking
requesting?
news, we're
Let's see who
going
this
to be
person.
having a nice little auction for him in the Discord. So if you haven't
An
joined the
auction.
Discord, come in.
We've got one decent man. One decent
out of the
man.
Exactly.
Maybe we can find 1.5. Maybe we can get another half of one for the auction. But we got one man of whatever resources we have. Sorry, David B. Did you? You requested. What's going on?
I think I hit it accidentally.
Oh, no problem. Any thoughts, feelings before I let you go? Sorry, I saw you requested. I just added you.
I'm just here to listen to you and everyone else.
Thank you, and have a great day, David. Look, see, people, what was wrong with that man that was screaming at me? Oh, here, Dracul Meow, which, by the way, don't get me started on, like, vampire and cat references. Hey.
Oh,
Shout out to Mr. Mittens.
The whole thing is designed around cats and vampires.
I know it is. Don't think, I mean, my two favorite hobbies.
But I'm not here to promote me. Felice and Joanna, I love you both so much. You mean so much to me. You save me so much legwork on getting the facts, and I don't consider anyone else more credible than the two of y'all. I look forward to your show because I feel like it is... I mean, oh, man, I could watch you 6 hours a day, every day if I could, but like, I do. Okay.
Can't wait to let you down. It's just a sleigh ride into disappointment. No, I'm just kidding.
Never.
I don't. No, the best of me is on here. The parts of me that will let you down, I won't let anyone see. Don't.
Well, I love both of you. Thank you so much for what you're doing. I requested because this conversation today has been really phenomenal for all of the parents that are listening, that are raising their children. And I just so happen to have 2 grown children. My oldest is a cis, het, straight, white man, and he's 20. And
normal MAGA man, they don't know what that means. That's just a normal MAGA man that you would just see on the street, MAGA. That's what that is.
Right, it's perfect, young, white, like, average man. And then his younger brother is 18 and all the same. And so I raised them very open about their sexuality and their gender, and everything that we talked about today and everything that was recommended that you do to raise your sons, I can tell you it worked. We started having the conversation around sex and gender at like the age of 11, but really the thing is that if you don't make sex a taboo, you never have to have the birds and the bees talk in the first place, because it's appropriate conversation for the age group that you're in. So don't avoid sex, graphic sex, sure, don't avoid it, but don't avoid the topic of sex around your children, because it is it's huge, a part of our lives. And if you hide it, then that's going to make them want to go seek it out. If you tell them, no, don't go do that, don't do that, they're going to
That's bad. Don't watch people kissing, you weird little perv. Yeah,
right.
no,
Or if they see you hide something, they're curious. So my husband and I realized that we were raising kids in a really critical time, because he and I knew that there was nothing our parents could do to stop us from accessing the internet. It just didn't matter. We could access whatever we wanted, it didn't matter. So we didn't even try. Both of our kids had phones and computers, and what we did is rather than like tell them this is what you should be looking at, I flipped the script. And I told them that they were independent human beings and all of their choices are their own. So what they expose themselves to, they can't undo. And there are things on the internet that you do not want to see. They will screw you up for life. So if you start to feel that weird tumbly in your stomach saying, oh, this doesn't feel right, turn away. But ultimately, it's up to you for what you expose yourself to. Now, granted, my children have seen some shit on the internet, but they are very rounded adults. They understand what's going on. We have conversations about incel culture all the time. And I started telling them, it was drives to school was really fun, because we would kind of talk about growing up as boys and what are you talking about in your groups. And then I would tell them, hey, the only way to change society is to hold your peers accountable. If your friends are sitting there talking shit about women or abusing them, it is your responsibility to call them out on it. And when they were younger, they're like, oh, Mom, I don't know if I could do that. And I said, it's okay. You may not be ready for it today, but someday you will. And it's your responsibility to hold all of them, because I can't do it. They're just going to see that someone else fighting. So it's you who needs to be there for us.
Sorry, this is my possibly high functioning autism checking. It's just, I'm very passionate about what you're saying as a teacher. And I'll just say this, like, children, and as a very, I grew up in a household that was not normal, and I have arrested development. Like, I'm essentially a child learning to now set boundaries. And I'll say this, like, what I always talk to kids about when I'm a teacher, because it was like, oh, like, I feel like I'm learning all this stuff too with my second graders, so I can just tell them how I'm experiencing it, right? Like, when you learn to set boundaries, when you're ready in a peer group to say, hey, you shouldn't say that, you honestly aren't going to have to think about it. It's going to be a reflex. Like, there are going to be lines that people are, you're going to be sitting at the lunch table and some kid's going to say something, and you're not going to think before you say, that's wrong and it's bad and you shouldn't say it, right? Like, it's going to be a knee-jerk reaction. And those are the healthy of, that's how children are going to learn about themselves. Like, this is what is acceptable, right? To me, as I'm a self-actualizing, and I don't even like to call children. They're just brilliant adults, right? Like, second grade, I was a second grade teacher, and like, these kids' brains, like, all we're doing is losing brain cells. From the time you're in second grade, you're just getting dumber. These kids are fucking brilliant. And they, like, there's no concept they can't understand. There's nothing they can't reason through. And I'm like, you're just going to know it. When you're in that situation and someone's doing something they shouldn't be doing, and you're not going to have to think about it. You're just going to say, that's a boundary for me. No. Right?
Absolutely.
And then, like, once you do it once, like, you're going to get that feeling and you're going to recognize it. That's another boundary for me. I don't like it. And I feel like as an adult, I'm just learning that now, because I used to just be a chameleon. It's like, I have no boundaries. I just become whoever anyone wants me to be. That's how I survived a malignant narcissist as a child. So no boundaries, just who do I need to be to survive this day? And now I realize, like, no, like, I need to decide who I am. And that's what's healthy, is just people in society just saying, like, here's what feels good. This is what's decent. This is what's right. It's not about good versus evil, like Christian or atheist. It's just, be a decent fucking person and let your gut tell you, like, hey, we shouldn't be doing this. We shouldn't be talking about this. We shouldn't be treating another human being like this, that is our peer. And, like, the more your kids learn to trust that gut, as I'm learning to do as an adult who's a child inside, you get it.
Absolutely. And it's important to tell them that they can call out their friends for that, because a lot of them feel, oh, I don't want to rock the boat, or I don't want to, start anything. But it's like, no, it's okay. It's okay to speak up. But have those conversations with your kids. It's not taboo if you've been talking about it all along. It opens the door for your kids to be able to come to you and talk to you about everything. Oh, another thing is I never like punish them if they did something wrong. I was here to help them fix it. And then what did we learn from it? So that you don't want your kid to be scared of bringing something to you. You want to be there to help them. They'll punish themselves on their own.
You're not the CEO of shame. I'm sorry. That's what I call, like, my smother, also known as malignant narcissist. Like, your job is not to shame your children into no longer being able to communicate with you 24 hours a day,
right,
and just dole out shame. Like, the more you shame, the less you will ever know about your child, and the less they will contact you once they finally can get away. Like, it's not about shame. It's like, hey, we are a team. If my parents had come to me as a child and just said, hey, this is a family, we're all on a team here, like, you play sports and we force you to play sports so we can get glory through you. Like, we're a team, and there's no problem this team can't solve. We just all have to be honest and communicate, and then there's going to be a solution. Like, if anyone had told me that, I'd be an entirely different human.
Yep. It absolutely works. And everyone who's thinking, maybe, I want to preserve my child's innocence for one more year, it's already gone by that time. Like, they're learning younger and younger, and you want to be the first one to introduce these things to them. And it just little bits, not the whole thing, just little bits, and answer questions, open the door. That's all I wanted to say. You are amazing. Love you both so much, and I love watching the show. Have a great day.
Awesome. God, it's like almost like we're renewing hope in society. Again, we will be auctioning Sebastian off Sebastian is a single man who has empathy. We found one. I didn't know you were single, Seabass.
I am, yes. And I would say, like, for that last person, that was beautifully said, too. Like, teaching kids early on is to me, very important. And you can, as a parent, I'm not one, so it's hard for me to speak on this, right? But I would say, like, you can check the maturity level of your kid as well and have that conversation and trickle in bits as they grow, right? But the premise is to set a foundation where, especially for men, right, or young boys, to be able to call out within their friend groups and give them that empowerment, because that's what it is, really. Like, after unpacking and deconstructing as an adult, right, it was empowering to say, like, I'm not going to hang out with these people anymore because they do atrocities, they do horrible things. And that's important. You have to surround yourself with good people, teach where you can, and stuff like that. And it's more difficult as you
And being a teacher
older.
is listening. That would be my advice as a teacher, as someone who was trained to teach. It's actually more of just listening to what your kids are saying. And like, here's the thing: when I hear conservatives be like, "No, this age group can't talk about this," it's not. Yeah, I actually sort of. I mean, we have to create some framework of curriculum, or states do. That's not necessarily me. I'm a teacher, but when, as a parent, or when you're a surrogate to a child as a teacher, when it's time to address something is when you have created this, hey, you can tell me anything. Tell me about your day. What's troubling you? What did you hear you didn't understand? Like, let's talk about it. I don't want you to be confused. Like, it's hard growing up. And they will come to you one day, and it will probably be younger than you think is appropriate. And they'll be like, well, some kid said 69. I remember when it was like a 6-year-old said this to me, and I was like, okay, well, and I mean, and I'm not saying as a teacher, it's not my job to explain that, but I'm telling you, like, you don't need to decide as an adult. Someone's going to say this stuff to them, and they're going to come ask you about it, and then you don't punish them, you don't shame them. You're just like, okay, like, like, for your age group, here's what I think is healthy to share. But you never want to shame them. Be like, who the said that? Like, don't ever talk to me about that again. The minute you make them feel bad for communicating what they heard on the playground or what other kids are saying, then that trust is broken. It's just about saying, hey, you can tell me anything.
Yeah, it actually shuts down the conversation between you and that parent, right? And that's the problem, is keeping the communication open with your young kids and stuff like that, and allowing them to come up to you and to have that open discussion with anything. I mean, it's not just that. It's even using rugs or whatever it may be. You want to be the person that's going to be the first point of contact, if you will, for them to learn from, right? And for them to be like listening to your I wouldn't say instruction, but more just like advice.
The safest space for your child, like, and for your children's friends, and then you can work in concert. And I just want to call out a comment. Fauna Girl said, innocence is a valuable commodity. Teach them so they don't get used. And I want to give an example of that I always talk about when I hear conservatives being like, we can't talk to children about anything to do with sex. Well, as a child who was essayed at church multiple times by a youth pastor, I wish that someone, I grew up in a household where there was no empathy, there was no healthy touch, there was no hugging, there was no like, hey, let me hold your hand for a second. So I didn't understand. As a little kid, I was desperate for like any sort of validation, physical, emotional, anything. I was just like, somebody validate me. And when you and you don't talk to your kids like, hey, like, like one of my best friends, she has two young boys. Their favorite word is like, "This. I have bodily autonomy. You can't touch me unless I say you can touch me." They've been saying this since they were 2 years old, and it's like you need to explain to your kids like this is your body. And if you don't invite someone to touch it, they should not be touching it, right? And these are, like, as conservatives, like, you can't talk to kids about... We're not talking about sex. We're talking about what healthy touch is at a young age so that children will have an idea of the difference, right? They will be able to distinguish, hey, I saw something or I think something happened to me that was not... I didn't invite it. Like, my bodily autonomy was violated. Someone touched me without my consent. And like that's the types of conversations conservatives like to be like, you're trying to show the kids corn. No, we're just trying to help them not get diddled by creepy preachers. Like that's the point, is having age appropriate conversations about this is your body. Nobody can touch it without your consent, you know, and really instilling that in them.
Yeah.
That was a priority for me as a parent and as someone who was touched inappropriately as a kid, was to teach my daughter. I didn't let her go to any kind of school until she could speak in coherent sentences to me. I taught her what her body parts were, and she was in preschool at 3. And I came and picked her up. She had on cute little overalls that day, and the teacher was like, you know what? I tried to help Ayana out of her clothes to use the restroom, and she was like, no, that's my, insert female genitalia part. Nobody touches that. You can't touch that. My mommy said you can't touch it, and I don't want you to. And she was like, there are not enough parents that teach their kids that good job. I'm like, yeah.
My mom was like, if a pastor says or tells you to do anything, you need to do it. You don't like. You need to understand the nuance and the difference with children, like, and the messages you're communicating to them about how they should be touched, what is comfort, what is healthy, what is not healthy. Those are the conversations you need to have very, very young. Anyways, you guys, I'm so sorry. We're almost at 3 hours. I actually have to go. I'm so sorry. I have to be at an appointment or take my dad to an appointment at 2. But I love you all so much. This was such a great conversation. And we'll do this again next Tuesday with Dr. Dani. And we'll get to some things we didn't get to today. And Seabass is single. And everyone follow him. Fish Bastion. I'll never...
I know I'm getting auctioned off in Discord apparently later. Yeah, I love it.
Just let us objectify a man for once.
It's fine. I'll be here for
we never get to object. Now you know how it feels.
Hop in the Discord, everybody. If you're not already in the Discord, get in the Discord. The bidding will start since we're in tough economic times, we'll start the bidding at $100. It's fine.
Or just anyway, I'm just saying, all we're trying to say is there's a nice man here who has empathy for people. And the bar is in hell, ladies. The bar is in hell. It should just be like, oh, we found a decent human being who's expressing empathy and a willingness to follow lines of logic to their natural conclusion. But yes, the bar is in hell. So for anyone else there.
Also, I just want to say one last thing before you end, too, is for specifically men like Beckman that was up, right? Men, be better. It's really just about listening to learn and not listening to respond. Believe women and just be better. Be better people.
Be less dumb, Beckman. Be less dumb.
It's not difficult.
we love you, see that? I want to say Swiftly Engaged said what time tomorrow? Yeah, tomorrow, not to bury the lead. Kash Patel, Ivan was talking earlier in the live about what Kash Patel is on God knows what, and was under oath in the Senate today, just like screaming at people and acting a fool. We will be going over the congressional testimony of Kash Patel trying to cover up for the Epstein files while also covering up for his own incompetence, and whatever he's on, I want some. So that is, it's going to be good. You have no idea what was happening on Capitol Hill this morning. I've already started clipping it. Jesus Christ, it is a shit show. And I believe he's also under oath in the House tomorrow as well. So depending on what time that starts, I'll try to get some of those clips too. But we'll start with like the shit show in the Senate Judiciary. And I think he has to be under oath in the House tomorrow as well. So I'll clip some of that. So as close to 11:30 Pacific time is possible, but it's usually closer to noon, to be honest with you. But between 11:30 and 12, I just take care of my dad, so it just depends on what I have going on and how I have to situate him and things like that. But yeah, tomorrow's gonna be a good one, I promise. Any last words, Joanna?
Just thank y'all for being here, and if y'all come in tomorrow and the taps aren't tapping, I'm cutting the fucking comments off. So get it together.